Hi everybody, good morning. I hope you are seeing me clearly. Otherwise, if you have any problems, you can call Menaka or you can call me on my line as well. Menaka is on 076 653 6696. I don't think there's an issue, so we'll slowly start. I know there are some more coming in, but as you know, this lecture is only about a little more than 4 hours or whatever. Okay, so I'll be quite an area to cover. I think we should not delay time. Also, in between, we'll have a small break for about 10 minutes and then continue. Now, today, my focus is to give you all an awareness of what international trade is. Of course, you all are not involved in the co-operations of trade, but as being a branch, working in a branch or whatever, trade is one of the products, import export is one of the products that we market in the banks, and therefore, every branch it's very important that they have a knowledge of international trade to avoid any opportunities that come up and they cannot handle. In order for you to miss any opportunities, you need to have trade. Right? Okay. So with that focus, I will do international trade on a more or less of a awareness basis. And I think this session that I'm doing, though international trade is a very wide subject, okay, and very technical, but for a person working, say, in the branches who are not involved in trade, the knowledge that you gather here should be only able for you to capture a business on trade opportunity. So that you don't miss the import export opportunity. After you capture it, then of course you can transfer to your specialists in trade and various other divisions. So how do you capture and so how do you avoid missing an opportunity? So I think this 4 hours that I'm doing for you will be sufficient for you to quite confidently, if any customer walks in or you go and meet any customer and he talks about international trade, and you can explore opportunities and try to increase business. So that is the focus, right? Okay. Now, when you say international trade, what is international trade? Of course, I have the slides on. You can see what it is. Now, in this, just 1 minute. In this, in this session, in this slide, my tute, you will find quite a number of slides. As you know, within 4 hours, you can't do every slide in detail. This is for you to get an awareness of trade, which will help you also if you come to a situation and you want to think of what is to be done, because you have the knowledge, you know what to think about trade. You can use my this tute also for you to do some reference in case you are faced an opportunity and you want to discuss some trade. So I won't be going through all the slides. However, I'll go on a quite detail, but not so much. But these slides also will help you in your day-to-day work. That's why I included these slides. Otherwise, it's not possible for me to do so much of slides in these hours. Right now, today we are talking about international trade. Now, what is international trade? Right, internet is very simple. Basically, actually, international trade is more or less an English word. International. So we say inter, that means in between. National means between nations, right? So it is a trade between nations. That is what we call international trade. Now, then you get a thing called domestic trade. Now, international trade, we said between nations, right? Say like India with Sri Lanka, or India with Singapore, or Singapore with Sri Lanka, like all different nations. But when you talk about domestic trade, that is trade which occurs within the border, within the territory. Select trade that takes place within a country. For example, if it is Sri Lanka, it is trade that takes place within Sri Lanka. That is what we call domestic trade. Okay, is that clear? I hope I'm clear. I'm clear on that, right? Then, so I will go to the next slide. So you are thinking, what is the volume or what is the size of international trade taking place between countries, right? Now, what is it? What do you, when I said trading between nations, what did I mean? One country, Singapore, is selling to, we'll say, say Sri Lanka is selling to India, right? When Sri Lanka sells to India, okay, when Sri Lanka sells to India, what happens? Sri Lanka's goods are being sent to India, right? And when India is, let's say, India is selling to Sri Lanka or Sri Lanka to India, whatever country, the other is about goods from India or from Singapore comes into Sri Lanka. So one trade is Sri Lankan goods are going out of the country, okay, either to India or to Singapore. The other way is goods from India to or Singapore is coming into Sri Lanka, right? That's how the trade takes place. One person is buying. When Sri Lanka is selling to India or Singapore, what do you call that? Sri Lanka is selling. And who is buying? Either it can be India or Singapore, just example, okay? So when Sri Lanka is wants something from India or Singapore, Sri Lanka is buying, India and Singapore is selling. Right. I hope that is clear. Now, having said that, you call it selling and buying. No problem. That's okay. You can call it Sri Lanka is selling, India is buying, India is selling, Sri Lanka is buying. Also same. But when you come to international trade, there are little terms that they use for these things, right? Which you don't get in domestic trade. Like for example, now say if Sri Lanka is selling, Sri Lanka is selling to India, for example. So what is happening? Goods are going from Sri Lanka to India, which means goods. How can goods go from Sri Lanka to India? How can it go? Can it go by bus? No, it can't. So it can go either by, because we are an island, we are surrounded by sea. Either it will go by ship, for example, or it can go by plane, by air. Okay. So we'll assume that going by ship. Okay. So the ship, if Sri Lanka is selling, the goods will go from Sri Lanka by ship to India. Okay, now here Sri Lanka is selling. So Sri Lanka is a seller. Okay, so if Sri Lanka is buying, then a ship from India will bring the goods to Sri Lanka. Goods will arrive in Sri Lanka, right? If you are selling, goods will go from Sri Lanka, right? Now for these two terms, there's a small different two terms to identify these two. One is, you call it, say, when you say, you know, where the ship is, where the ship goes from, where is it parked? Like example, like bus stand and that way, where is the ship parked? It's in the port. Okay. So what happens is, they load the goods into the ship in the port of Sri Lanka, say Colombo port, for example, right? And then leaves the port and it goes to India and unloads the good in a Indian port. Right? That's clear? There's nothing much to worry about now. So since it is going from the port, Sri Lanka is selling, and it's going from the port of Sri Lanka, it's going out of the port, right? It's going out of the port of Sri Lanka. Therefore, that when Sri Lanka is selling, they call it export. Export, right? EXPORT, export, right? Example, Now, say even if you go for theater, right, and you go and sit, you can see there are doors all around the hall. Say Regal Theatre, or you go to Savoy, whatever, you get doors around the play place. I've not gone to a theater for a couple of years, but if I remember well, there are doors around the theater. So on top of the door, you get exit. What does it mean? Exit means that doesn't say you can come in. Exit means you can go out, right? So like that, X. This like that, exit means going out. So your X is going out of the port. So export, right? Understood? When Sri Lanka is selling, things are going from our port to another port. Another port is receiving it. From our port, it is going out, right? So therefore, it is known as export. When Sri Lanka is buying, what happens is, for India, it will be an export. Why? From their port, they are sending out of their port into our port, right? So when Sri Lanka receives, now the ship from India comes and say anchors at the Colombo port, okay, or it parks. Simple words, it parks at the Colombo port, and from there it will unload the goods that it brought from India. Okay, so the goods are from the ship coming into the port of Sri Lanka, right? So what do you call that? Right? I know what you are saying. Now you say, okay, I said export, export, export. So it's coming into the port, therefore it has to be import, right? For some reason which I also cannot give you a proper explanation, when goods come into the port of Sri Lanka, okay, they call it import. IM. Factually, you will say, oh, how can that be? If it is coming into the port, you said going out of the port is export. Then if it comes into the port, it must be import, right? To tell you the truth, I have not done research to find out why that word was there. But I just figured out myself, right? Maybe those days, the intention was to call it import, right? And maybe if you see on your keyboard, a computer or those days typewriter, same keyboard, right? You'll find that N and M are close to each other, right? N and so maybe the person who originally did this, his intention was to type when goods are coming to the country, into the port, his intention would have been to type it as INPORT, import. But due to some reason, maybe the keyboard or whatever, N is next to M, so he went and typed M. So from that day onwards, okay, it is known as import. That's just a logical explanation which I thought of, right? Why they did not call it import and why they are calling import. So, never mind, let us not go to study the history of what happened. So, just assume that if goods are going out of the port of Sri Lanka, that is export. Not only Sri Lanka, any country, goods are going out of their port, that is known as export. And if goods are coming into the country, into the port of their countries, that is known as import, right? Now, okay, now you know what is import export now? Oh, that's good. Say for example, say some, now we'll change country, say Singapore, just for, I'm just using various countries, right? There's no difference, right? The principle what I'm saying is the same. So when I'll make it easy. We'll say there's a person from US, right? In US. He is sending some goods to Sri Lanka. So when it leaves his port, it is export, right? So when it comes to Sri Lanka into our port, it's called as import. Now that person who sends the goods to Sri Lanka, right, is not sending it free, no. He is asking for some money, right? In his country, assume that, yeah, US is US dollars. So he will want us to pay him dollars. So he will send the goods to Sri Lanka and expect us to pay him dollars. Well, in US dollars, in US, right? I won't talk about the convertible currency, all that. No need to make so much of issue about it. Just assume that he wants dollars. Make it simple. He says, okay, Sri Lanka, what do you want? What are America, whatever they want, will say they want to send some high-tech electronic item or something like from America that Sri Lanka wants to buy, and this is Sri Lanka. Okay, we want to buy, we want to sell. This is our price. We'll say $100. So when the goods are when a person buys from America, he gets the goods in Sri Lanka, and then he has to pay $100 to the American guy. Right? Is that clear? I'm sure it is very clear. Right? Now, those of you who are not involved in international trade, right, don't think that international trade is a completely alien subject. Okay, it is very simple subject and very interesting. And to tell you the truth, there is no, I don't know of any country, right? I hardly can think of any country in the world, of the 2,000 countries we have, that no country does not do trade, international trade. Okay, because why is that is because Sri Lanka, we say Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has certain goods of their own. They manufacture, they grow, like for example, say tea, we grow coconuts, we have then manufacture, we have garments, we grow handicrafts, that we have our products. So we can sell. But then we don't have certain products, say high-tech medical equipment like that from US or oil from Saudi Arabia. We don't have oil. So therefore, what we have, what the goods that we, our country produces or comes naturally, we grow or manufacture, whatever. There are certain goods that are not available. We need and we cannot get. Then we buy from another country, right? So therefore, like that, almost all countries can't have everything under the sun in their own country. They can't have the oil, they can't have the garment, they can't have the tea, they can't have the coconut, they can't have rubber, right? They know one country that has everything that they want. They're strong in certain items they have to get from somebody else. Okay. So that is why I say every country is involved in international trade. Because if no country doesn't have everything that they want. So they're dependent on each other for they give what they have and get something what they don't have. Right. So coming back to my point, where the US guy is asking for $100, he says, okay, you give me $100, I'll give you this high-tech electronic equipment, whatever. Right. So going like that, so when a person from America sends it to Sri Lanka, as you know, what is Sri Lanka doing? Sri Lanka is buying. If somebody say from Saudi Arabia or Dubai wants tea, you want to buy tea from us, then we are selling tea, right? And therefore that is known as export, right? These basics you must understand, then only you can understand the subject, okay? Right? Okay? Right. Now, in my next slide, okay, I'll show you what is this international trade that is done in Sri Lanka. Is it a big amount? Is international trade done, the amount of international trade done in Sri Lanka, is it significantly high? Do we need to have international trade? Is it a big business? And I am wasting my half a day here doing this session on international trade. Is it worthwhile? Do I have? Is there so much of business that I need to? Will this subject be useful to me? Of course, if there is substantial value in the transactions of volume only, worth it, isn't it? So in the next slide, I'll show you what it is about, right? How much we do. I hope it's clear, right? Okay. I explained to you. Now see. Now, don't worry about these figures of adding and calculating and remembering. Nothing to remember. Only for you to have an idea, just an idea, right? See, on exports, See exports, right? In US dollars, millions. You get US dollars, millions, right? We have done, say, we say, we'll forget about 19 now, we'll take the 20. What I have is 20 figures, right? January to December 20, we categorize our exports into various, 3, 4 categories, right? For example, say industrial exports. What are industrial exports? Textiles and garments. You can see, right? We have done $4,423 million, US dollars million, which means it is $4 billion, right? Okay, then we have done rubber products, 786 million, James, blah, 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 blah. Altogether, we have done the total industrial exports was 7 billion, 7,701 billion. 7,701 million is $7.7 billion, right? Then we have also done agricultural exports, tea, rubber, coconut, spices, seafood, blah, blah, right? Okay. The main items, these are right. See, these are $2,336 million. Okay. 2000, that is 2.3 billion dollars, right? Then mineral exports is small amount, right? And other rest of the exports can go. Totally, our country has exported amounts to the value of US dollars 10,707 million, which means our export value is 10 billion. 10 billion US. So now do you think that it is quite a substantial amount that we are doing? Of course, I think 10 billion is quite something that we like to look at, right? And especially when this is an international trade is something that no country does not have, and every country is involved in international trade, then I think you also might think that yes, I need to have some knowledge of what international trade is, right? Okay, so we earned $10,000. These on exports. You can see that, right? Okay. Then let us go to the next slide. What is this? This shows imports. How much have we, that means what does it mean? How much have we bought? How much we have bought from other countries? Now this one we did how much we have sold to other countries. Can you see? How much we have sold to other countries. Okay. And now we come to how much we have bought from other countries. See? They also they central bank they categorize the goods among the imports also. For example, here consumer goods, non-food consumer goods, intermediate goods, investment goods. So under consumer goods you get food and beverages, daily products, sugar, all that, right? Then you get non-consumer, that is non-food, they are consumer goods but not food items. These all food items not actually first, like personal vehicle, home appliances, all your electric and blenders and pressure cookers and TVs and everything. Okay. Then telecommunication, all your iPhone 13, iPhone 15, iPhone 16, all that comes in Samsung, all phones all coming. These are non-food consumer goods. We have what? 1.8 billion, 3 billion. Okay. And here intermediate goods means fuel, like oil we imported, then textile articles that to make gowns that we have bought, fertilizer grow plantation, these are known as intermediate goods. These are goods that are used for to get something, to make something out of it. Fuel you use for your consumption, for your industry, to go run your vehicles in it. So these are intermediate goods that are used for something else, for some other purpose. Textile are taken for stitching garments, fertilizer to do plantation, so intermediate goods, right? Investment goods, what when you want to go capital in, you want to go do construction and all, these are okay. Now you don't have to worry about that. But just see the figure here. The figure here shows 16,055 million, right? That means 16 billion. We have imported, we have bought items for $16 billion and we have exported for $10 billion. You see? Can you see? Okay, now, Now I'm going to slightly deviate from these figures, right? What happens is, now in those days, you can have the situation like this. Give me a minute, huh? And you can see me. But you have to excuse me, right? Now, say we want to buy some, well, petrol, oil, for a car and all that we want to buy. So what are we doing? We are telling, we go to Saudi Arabia, right? And tell Saudi Arabia, say Sheikh Abdullah or whatever, and tell him we want oil, right? We say, Sheikh Abdullah, we want some oil, man. Can you give us some oil? Say, yes, I can give oil. But, and also we tell, you are Saudi Arabia, you all drink tea, no, man. You all don't have tea, no. So we will give you tea. You give me oil, I'll give you tea, right? That like what you call it barter system. You're done your course, you're done barter system, right? I'm not going to go into monetary subject, right? Barter system. You give me tea, I give you oil. But then what does Abdullah say? Abdullah says, no man, I don't need your tea because now we are buying tea from Kenya, right? You all were very lethargic one time, you're buying from you, but then you were not very active, and then Kenya came in and now they have flooded our market and all of people like Kenyan tea. So we are buying, we don't need your tea. Then Sri Lanka asked, oh, come on, man, why if you don't want tea, what do you want? He said, no, I don't want any commodity. I want one special commodity. So what does Abdullah say? Abdullah says, if you want my oil, okay, you must give me dollars. You know, dollar currency. Now I'm talking only on dollars, okay? When you say there are certain accepted currencies in the world, there are a thing called convertible acceptable currencies, right? Like euro, yen, and Singapore dollar, and all these things. But don't worry about all that. You just take one currency, dollars. We're talking dollars, right? So the Saudi guy says, no. You want how much oil? You want $1 million of oil? Or say $100,000 oil? Yes. You give me the commodity I want is, I don't want your tea. I don't want your rubber. I don't want your garments. No. Spices? No. You give me $100,000 currency, right? Money. Then, what mean? Why do you need that? Why you want $100,000? You know, my friend, he's saying, now he's telling this to him, huh? Abdullah is saying, I will tell you why I need dollars. Saudi Arabia wants to buy some cars from Japan, right? Okay, they want to buy the cars from Japan. So, the Saudi guy approaches the Japanese guy and says, hello, I want to buy some cars, man. Can you give me your Toyota cars? I want to buy about 100 cars. Can you give me? Yes, I can give you. I will give you oil, the Saudi guy says. I will give you oil. Okay. Then he says, Japanese guy says, no, man, I don't want your oil. I am buying oil I get oil from Qatar and Dubai. I don't want oil. You only have oil in your country. I don't want oil. If you want my cars, right? Say the cost of cars is also $100,000. You give me $100,000 currency. Then I'll give the cars. Now the Saudi guy can't buy the cars because he doesn't have $100,000 currency. Then the Saudi guy asks the Japanese guy, why don't you take my oil? Why are you asking for $100,000? You see, what happened to me was, Japanese guy saying, I went to Hong Kong and I went to buy some toys to sell in Japan. When I told the Hong Kong guy, can you give me some toys for $100,000? In exchange, I'll give you Toyota cars. The Hong Kong guy said, no, I don't need your cars. Our roads are already packed. If you have been to Hong Kong, you'll see how the road locks are there, right? So we don't need your cars. What do you want? We want $100,000 cash, right? $100,000 you want. Now see, so the Saudi guy is explaining to the Sri Lankan guy, look here, my friend, everybody has one commodity that is accepted by everybody. If you give me for my oil $100,000, he says Sri Lankan, right? If you give me $100,000 for the oil you're buying from me, I can give that $100,000 to the Japanese guy and get me my Toyota cars. Then the Japanese guy can give that $100,000 to the Hong Kong guy and get the toys he wants, right? And can go on to the Hong Kong guy, you say he wants to buy something in China, then he'll say he used that $100,000 buy from China, right? Go on a chain. So this dollar thing is something that universally accepted, right? So everybody likes they keep that as a thing that they can buy and sell with. So the bottom line is now the Saudi guy is saying he wants dollars. Why is this? He saw explained, Saudi guy gives 100,000, he gives Japanese guy gives the cost, he goes to the Hong Kong guy, let it go wrong, right? Now Sri Lanka also has to have dollars to buy this oil. If they don't have dollars, they can't buy the oil. Now see these exports. We'll say we also took the same attitude. When we sold the textile garments, the rubber products, the gems, the machinery, the petroleum product, the tea, the rubber, blah, 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 all that, we told all the buyers, whoever comes, they are offering us cars, they are offering us petrol, they are offering us food, they are offering us medical. No, no. We will buy that from the countries we want. But if you all are doing business from us, we want dollars. Right? So from January to December 2020, you see here, from exports, we got $10,000 in our kitty, right? So in our till, we have now, in our drawer, business drawer, say treasury, whatever, we earned $10,000. Now we have $10 billion, right? Now with this $10 billion, we can go and buy oil from Saudi and give the money to him, right? Whatever buying, we have dollars to pay. We have dollars to pay. We have got 10 billion. Go to the market, right? Buy. Okay. They all want dollars here dollars. Why? We earn $10 billion in our exports. So here for you, dollars. Right? But what happened now? Now see our imports. See, what are imports, right? 16 billion. Now you're confused. You're saying, you said you need dollars to buy. You got only $10 billion. But you're showing me a slide and saying Sri Lanka imported $16 billion. How do you earn $10 billion and you're showing that you spent $16 billion? From where? You're roughly say you're $6 million short compared to the exports, right? How is that? Impossible. But don't you think that we ourselves are like that? Practical life. Even we are earning, we'll say 25,000 rupees salary, but end of the month, what we have spent 35,000 rupees. Right? How is that? You got a salary of 25, but end of the month you have spent 35. Right? But most of I've been doing that for my life like that only, right? Very rarely I heard a person saying I'm saving. We get 25 and due for 35. So balance 10 from where? Maybe we'll borrow from a friend. Young, need some money. I'll give my salary day. Right? Like that you will ask. Always our expenses exceed our income. Right? So So if all the country doing that, so the countries are doing the same thing, right? See, 16 billion against him. We earned only 10 billion, but we have spent and bought imported goods for 16 billion, right? So now, before I go to the next slide, have you got an idea as to why, as to how, and why dollars are required? So we need dollars if you want to buy something from other countries, right? And I told you dollars means convertible currency, right? Like yen and all that, but I will talk about one currency only. So if you don't have dollars, you can't buy. You understand the present situation, what is happening, right? So example, supposing you're very bad and your situation bad, then very important item. Maybe you can't bring down a high definition 16-inch TV can't bring, right? But important, say for cancer, some drugs required, or some for MRI or something like for brain scanning equipment, right? Or food for us to eat and live, right? Then certain medications, then certain equipment that need for construction, right? Like for example, you need oil for production. So those are important items, no? So if you don't have dollars, you will find it difficult to buy those. Then what happens? Your country can't get medicines that are required, let's say medical equipment that are required, food for the people, fuel for production. Then what happens to the country? Country can crash, right? Therefore, country has to have money to buy the requirements. That is why you find when a country is controlling the import, before they said, okay, you can bring down, now see, if you see on the road, I just got my vehicle is, I am retired, right? I'll tell you about myself a little, right? I got a normal XU, right? XU car, right? Maybe 4 million, 5 million. But alongside with me, if you go on the road, go to a traffic block and park there, waiting for the red light to turn, big traffic jam. Just on my side, you can see another vehicle, Range Rover or whatever they call, 35 million, 40 million, 50 million. But mine is 5 million, right? But both, can it fly over and go from the red light? You can't. It is also stuck. 40 million is also stuck. My 5 million is stuck. So do you think we need 40 million vehicle? No, right? So we don't need luxury vehicle. So if you can afford it, your country has enough money, never mind affording people having luxury is okay. But then when you are not having enough money, then countries like us are developing and things like that, and all that, not top countries, will develop countries, they can afford, right? But we have to control. So that is why you find central bank sometimes relaxes certain things and allows when country financial position is okay, they say, okay, we import, okay, want 16-inch TV, want 100-inch TV, right, okay. But sometimes they will say, no, country can't waste money on buying TVs. We need we don't have dollars. Every house can have only 20-inch TV, right? You can import only 20-inch. They can come to that situation also, right? So like that they control. The treasury, they look at the position. They don't like to burden people unwantedly. But when they are compelled to, they have to know. They have to control, no, right? So they might restrict some imports. They say, no, you can't import this. This is not allowed. This is not allowed. This is not allowed, right? This one, what medication? Yes, medicine you can have. Computers, yeah. Okay. Computers, what? Or to watch video games? No. To do office work and all that, to do research and all? Yes, right? Then video games, 200,000 video games with all the Excels and all that to play and all? No, all that not required. Ban. No, can't import. Don't waste money. So like the control, right? So now you can see, I know you're still wondering, now what is this guy going to say? He said, we need dollars to buy items. Now exports we have got only $10 billion, right? And then here he says we imported for $16 billion. And now how did we do that? Right? Like how you are doing only. Getting a salary of 25,000, if I get a salary of 25,000, I spend 35,000. Let us wait, I'll show you how we do it. Now in that salary case, how did we get over it? We borrowed friend Yaluk Dinda in a Masigan, right? That we did. Like also we also have. Countries can do that. Now see what happens. The next slide. This is how we bridge the gap. Okay. I hope I'm going quite slow and quite clear to you all. Okay. I'm not confusing you all too much. First, you need to understand this. Then only I can go into little technical side of trade where what customers come, what will they ask you, what are the requests they'll make for you to have an idea. First of all, you must have what an idea what this internet trade is about. Okay. So now this is one. I told you this. Now let us see what happens. How is it done? Right. Now, like I told you, don't forget about 2019. Import is 16 billion. Export is 10 billion. Right. So we are short of 5.9 billion. As you can know that. How do we overcome? We need dollars. So from where did we get these dollars to buy so much? From where we got is, worker remittances. What is worker remittances? What are worker remittances? Now I can't see you all and I don't know what you all are saying, but if I am saying physical class, right, where all of you are present, I get the common answer from everybody. What is worker remittances? Worker remittances are monies that are earned by people who are working abroad. And the next question I ask them, who are these people who send these money? Straight away they'll say housemaids, drivers. So that actually that answer gives me I'm very unhappy when I get that answer. What mean? Okay, you're right. Worker remittance is monies that are sent by people working abroad. Then when I ask you who are these people, the common answer I get is housemates, drivers. So you mean Sri Lanka doesn't have people good enough to do better jobs than that abroad, right? They don't have other people who can do anything else. Only they have housemaid drivers in Sri Lanka. Why do they always come? For the last so many years I'm doing the lectures, I have never got somebody starting with another job. Straight away worker remittances, housemates, drivers, right? Why they say that, I don't know. I'll tell you, example. Now, take myself, right? Let me tell you a little history about myself, right? I won't take too long, but about 2 minutes. I'm sure even you or your fathers won't have, parents won't have been born when I started banking, right? I started banking in 1978, okay, in commercial bank. I started commercial bank, Colombo. I don't know what happened or how it worked. Normally, they say you join a bank, they put in the counter to count cash, all this blah blah. They do that. But maybe something happened. I won't go detail. I don't know why they did it. They put me to the import export department as I joined import export. My gosh, I did not know the meaning of what import export, but they put me to the import export department, right? Then I worked there. I won't tell you what happened and all that. Just I worked from 1978 to 1993. I worked at Commercial Bank, Colombo, right? Then in 1993, I went to Saudi Arabia, right, and joined HSBC. Those days were known as South British Bank, right, which is actually HSBC Group. But now the HSBC have branded all the branches around the world in one name, HSBC, right? So I joined HSBC Saudi Arabia as head of there also I became head of the import-export department, head of trade. They also did. So now from 78 to now 1993, I did import-export. Then from 1993, I worked in HSBC. And then I worked till 2004. Right? I worked till 2004. From 1993 to 2004 in HSBC Saudi Arabia, also I did import-export. Right? Then in 2004, I thought I want to come back home. My daughters are small and they were just like getting into middle school, like, so I thought I should be at home. So I came back. I came back in 2004 and joined HNB. Right? 2004, I joined HNB. I worked at 2004 HNB till 2015 and I retired. So from 1978 to 2015, right? Almost 30, 40 years, right? I have been doing banking only import and export. I have not worked in any other department. I don't know, is it good or bad, I don't know. But so you can see, 78 to 2015 means how many years? Almost more than 30 years, 35 years, right? So I have been doing only import. I have never worked in any other department. Current account, branches, my God. When I see a branch, I'm really scared, right? So I can see the branch manager. Oh God, he has so many people under him. He has got the counter clerk, he got the security guard is under him, the tea boy is under him, trade department, they say, personal loans, they say. Oh my God, he's having everything under him, right? And he should know everything. Anything happens, anyway happens. Anything, if security guard shout, customer shout, security guard, branch manager gets scolded, right? And if the tea is not prepared properly, the staff will strike. So the tea boy also, the tea maker also, he has to be careful. From the security guard, right inside, going to the bank, can't account that this money, and then right up to the tea room, or even into the toilets also, the branch manager. So it's a big job that is my heavens. I never had that opportunity. I never worked in a branch. I only worked in import export, right? So this is where my job has been. So I have been working. That's all. So now, if I say I worked in Saudi Arabia at HSBC Bank, will you tell that I worked as a driver? No, no. I was not a driver in the bank. But straight away you say housemaid drivers. Why this? But I was in Saudi Arabia for 11 years. There are so many big shots of Sri Lankans who are working there. There are presidents of companies, doctors, engineers, bankers, accountants, then architects, then quantity surveyors. Oh my God, this. And what is the salary of a housemaid after all, right? If you take a banker, say normal, we say you're doing lending or something, you're a credit officer or something like, for example, right? So a credit officer means by now today how much you can draw, a credit officer can draw in the Middle East, right? He can draw somewhere around $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Okay. How much does a housemaid get? Maybe $300 a month, right? So see, more than 200-300 times the salary, right? So the worker remittance, right? Okay, foreign workers, but not only housemaids and drivers. Okay, there are top guys, right? So otherwise, if you say drivers, then I fall into that category. Okay, so the worker remittance came to 7 billion, right? Then you get tourism. No, tourism went down, because of the pandemic and things like that. Ours is one of the best places of tourism. Proud to be in Sri Lanka with such a quick variation of climate. 2 hours drive, 3 hours drive, you're from the beaches of Colombo or Gaul, you go to a cold climate so fast, you don't get things that people are not that lucky to be in that environment. So we are super for tourism, but unfortunately, due to this pandemic and things like that, it has gone down. But hopefully, every pandemic has to come to an end. Over the history of the world, you can see we have had so many pandemics, right? So one day, God willing, everything will come back normal, and then we will earn better. See how the difference. Pre-pandemic, see 3,000 billion and 3 billion only 500. Doesn't matter. So this was another income we get. What are the income dollars? Worker remittances, earnings from tourism, right? And of course, government borrowings. Government borrows things like from all the bonds and this and that, right? We got 2,000. And people come and invest. Even now, direct investment is actually this area. I think we are doing. The government is looking into this area and trying to attract more investment into the country, right? We have to have a little streamline. We have to discipline ourselves. For anybody coming to do business, must be make it very easy for him. No protocol, no changes, no protest, no every slightest thing protesting. No point. I mean, whatever everything you give something to somebody, they are protesting. You do that side, but if you have foreign direct investment, right? They come in and it's advantageous for us, but that we will get different way. So when people say that you come and invest and then start with supporting, they will not come, right? So this area we need to improve ourselves. I mean, into all of us, not only the government, but every citizen should think positively and try to attract this area. So this 5,000 billion shortfall, okay, is circumvented by this. This is how we fund it. Work remittances, earnings tourism, influence government, foreign direct investment. For example, if there is a trade deficit, we call this the trade account, right? Trade account, now the trade deficit. What are the sources that are available to overcome the trade deficit, right? If you ask, we can say worker remittances, earnings of tourism, influence government, foreign direct investment, right? Okay, this is what I now this is how we overcome. So it's very important. Now see worker remittances. Now see what has happened. Can you see the increase? Just for your knowledge, 6,000 to 7,000, right? And it's getting higher. Now, why 2020 has increased like that is during the pandemic, many people working abroad were terminated. They lost their jobs. So when they lose their jobs, what is that? They settle their final terminal benefits. They get their provident fund, that is whatever they get, and they come. So when they bring it into Sri Lanka, that amount figure looks big. Understand? But I don't know, unless a lot of people lost their jobs, right? Now gradually, I think this worker foreign employment is improving. So if you can maintain some figure like this, is very good. So this is a very important factor. So it can't. So see, this all depends on how the job market is. Tourism, for example, we were the top tourism guys. Another small play, useless look came here, who Maldives came, and they attracted quite a number of tourism, right? Part of it might have gone there also, only lost on there. So what we should do is, primarily, we have a lot of resources. Our labor costs are low, right? Comparatively, right? So we should try to improve our exports. We must try to meet the import bill, the import shortfall, import accident by weighing exports. That is why the government is giving so many incentives to exporters, promoting exporters, giving them support, right? So you are trying to make, in addition to these things, we are trying to focus on exports, increase the export market. We increase exports, then we meet this shortfall. So there's potential. So hopefully things are changing, and let's hope that we can see the light and then in the end of the tunnel is very close, hopefully, right? So these are, now that I explained to you, now you all understand in international trade how important it is to have the dollars, correct? How important you need to have dollars to earn dollars. That is why even now they say dollar is going up. We don't know. You can see papers every day. Yeah, true, because it's not only for us, but it's a globally this pandemic is there. So we are going through a difficult time. Not only we, the whole world is going through a difficult time. Now see, if our exports or our tourists can't come here because it is pandemic. They don't have money. There are no jobs. Jobs are not there, so they don't have money. So they can't come here, right? They can't come. Even if you open it, only tourists who can afford can come here, no, right? Okay. There are restrictions and there are people concerned about whether they'll get infected, all that. So that tourism got break down. Worker remittances, people are losing, other countries, they can't afford, they're trying to manage their own, because it's like our house. Now, if you're a affluent person, well to do, you will have a domestic servant. You'll have a servant at home. But if your income is not sufficient to, you have no mind to pay a servant, you will manage to do your own work. Similarly, like that, worker remittances also, but the countries might think, oh, we don't have, why should we spend on foreign people? We'll manage on our own. So there may be less opportunities. They're like that, right? Inflows. This is what we have to reduce. We should not borrow, but government is trying their best to see how they can borrow on low funds and manage without making too much in borrowing. Understand, right? Foreign investment is something we have to really attract. So now you understand how important it is to have earned dollars. Okay. I told you what is import. I told you what is export. I told you why dollars are important. Okay, now that part is finished. Now let me see what we can go on to. This is a chart I'm showing you the global trade. This is taken some time back. Okay, no, not a recent one. This is a few couple of years back. Just see how much of trade is done in the world. Can you see? For these, maybe these the items that I picked up here, 10 pearls, blah blah blah, organic material, pharmaceutical, cement. Global trade is 9 trillion 340 billion 472 million 405,000. Can you see? What a lot of the world in world import export business, right? International trade business, how much has taken place? How much they're transacting international trade business? Maybe there some more items can be added. I don't know. This is what one I was able to get. $9 trillion, 340 billion, 472 million, 405,000. Right? That time of that year, the total import and exports in Sri Lanka were 21.8 million only. So see, 21.8 million means just somewhere below this, between these two years. Whereas all this can see this. So there's potential. That means there's market, there's potential. You have a product, you might be able to find market. That's why the government is saying, look for the market, look for the market. There'll be a huge market in the world, right? So we should be able to get something out of it. Okay. Is that clear? I hope that is clear. Now, let me see. Yeah, now I'm going to do, now we are coming a little into the, now all this while I spoke to you was little generalized, isn't it? What is international trade, how much is done, how dollars got, right? Now we are coming into a little more core part of, not I can't core, but more into the real handling of international trade. Okay. How does trade take place? For example, this is how it takes place. Say a Sri Lankan wants to buy some toys, right? So what he does is, one day he's in the morning, he's reading the papers at his home, the newspapers, and there is an advertisement saying the Ching Chong company from Singapore, right, has high quality toys for export. Please contact telephone number, address, all that. So now this Sri Lankan guy, he sees this and he wants to import some toys. Now, when he wants to get down some toys to Singapore, is he importing or exporting? If it was a physical class, I would ask. A person from Sri Lanka wants to buy some toys from Singapore. Is it import or export? So, but if any of you are letting export, then that means I don't know where you all this while, right? But if all of you say it's import, then you guys, I think all are with me. Okay, so now I can't see yours, so I don't know whether how many are saying exports, right? But anyway, don't worry. If you recollect quietly, you'll understand what I mean. So Sri Lankan guy wants to buy. So that means he wants to import. He wants to import some toys from this guy from Singapore advertising papers. What usually you should do is, right? Or say, if you're giving advice to a person, guy comes to your bank and says, sir, mom, that kind of patre, me Singapore on the quality toys वगैरह supply करने के लिए डाला थी ना मां मुकद्दर कराने नहीं गिला इलाज. Now if they ask you what is the कराने, you won't say that's it. इन्हें गिनना कंडा कोई can't tell that, no, right? You're a bank, so you have to tell advise him, right? What you can do is, first, now this person who has put this advertisement in the papers or internet or whatever, right? We say paper, we focus paper, right? We have to find out the customers find out what sort of a guy, is there a company like this? Who is this guy? You say he's for Ching and company, managing director Ching, right? So you'll advise him. What you can do is yonder to the embassy. Like Singapore embassy you can do this. You can go to the Singapore embassy, right? There's a guy called the trade consulate, right, who handle all trade. You can give this name of this person, this company advertisement, and tell him to give some information, what sort of a guy this guy is, right? So the trade consulate will check up their list and all that and see whether this guy is a registered business company or just a mushroom company, right? And they'll give you opinion. Understand? They'll give you opinion as to whether it's a mushroom company or a registered good supplier. That is one way, right? Another way is you will write to this Singapore guy and say, I'm interested to import some toys from you. Can you tell me to who are the other people in Sri Lanka you are already exporting to? Have you got any customers in Sri Lanka who are buying from you? Right? They say, oh, yes, we have 25 customers. Can you give me 5 of those people? So you say, just ask a list. Right. Then you get the 5 list. So yours, now if you are asking for toys, importing toys, right, in Sri Lanka, you are in the toy trade now already, right? You are in the toy trade. So generally, each business commodity type people are together. Cement importers are together, right? Food importers are together. Car importers are together. They are the association, all that, right? So like that, even the toy importers, when you say you're importing toys, okay, generally the toy importers are known to each other. I'm not saying all know everybody, but their major players are known, right? So you ask this guy, have you got anybody already importing from you from Singapore, right? Then he says, you can give me about 5 guys, and maybe you will see, and you might try to contact them and ask them. I got this note from this guy from Singapore. He says he's exporting toys to you. Are you importing from you? Are the toys good? How is the guy? Is he quality is assured? Or something? Or blah blah. You can ask him. Right. Sometimes this guy is a guy we bought from those days. We bought and his toys are horrible quality. Don't buy from him. Right? Then what you drop him? Right? Or other oh yeah, he's good. His quality good. We are still he's a long supplier for us. The last 10 years we're buying from him. His toys are good. You can count on it. Right? That is one way of telling you. Now second way here. Now 2 ways here. Right? Understand? Third way is not, I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can go on so many ways, right? You can go take a plane to Singapore, go to Singapore and see what the place is, right? That is another way of looking at it also, right? So I'm saying just basic things for you. Then another way is you can ask the Singapore guy, who are your bankers in Singapore? You say, example, Standard Chartered Singapore, right? Then you tell on his behalf, and if it's your customer, you can write to the bank, give the details of this account, and say he maintain account with you. We are hoping to do business for about $100,000 a month with him. Can you tell me, can you get some brief about this customer? Right. Then you get a bank report, right? You get a bank report. Right? Then the bank will send you a report. Okay. Also, there are Brad and Pitt and there are various organizations who are also involved in this. You want anything, you can go to him, but it is quite costly, right? You can get a report on this supplier, on who is in the Singapore guy, how is it good or is it bad or what is it? You can get information from that, right? Various organizations, Sri Lanka, Brad and Pitt and this and that. I can't give list of they are, right? You can get the information from them. Also, they charge you quite. It's quite expensive to go to those people. Then another way of finding out whether this, because before you start a business, before you start a trade, international trade, now see, for example, this is not like local business domain, right? Now, if you are going for doing local business, what do? You go to Kagis supermarket or Kiel supermarket or Love supermarket. Now you can see how many supermarkets. Now, since our job is buying online, right? I have come to know so many supermarkets. You can think of Spa supermarket, Love, Kiel, Kagis, oh, so and so. So many supermarkets, right? You get on the list. Say, for example, Kagis, right? You go. Kagis, what you'll do? You'll go in, right? You'll take a cart, push it, go to the shelf, right? Look at the item, take the item, see the expiry date, right? Say it's going to expire 2 3 months. You may like to buy, or what you do is the trick is normal supermarkets. They always put the oldest item to the front. Say you have say pack of milk or whatever item, you get packets in a row. You'll find that the last packet is expiring somewhere end of the year, end of next year. But the first packet may be expiring somewhere in March or so. So normally people are in a hurry, right? So they just put the milk and come. But if you have some time, what you do, you have to hand inside and take the last packet and see. So you're satisfied. Still, you don't get expired items anyway, right? But you want a longer period. So you select what you want. You select what you want. You come to the counter, you come to the cashier. And what do you do? At the cashier, you will pay the money to the cashier. He won't, of course, you are the buyer, you got the goods, right? You've seen the goods, you're happy with the goods. Definitely, you're not allowed to pass you on the cashier that yep, you can't take the carton without paying. Cashier gets the car, he's the seller, he acts as a seller. For example, here, if you, of course, you can't call this, you can't say this. So here, theoretically, or for just to make it easier, you with the cart full of goods is like the importer, and the cashier is the exporter, right? Cashier selling. So you give the money, and you take the goods and you go, right? Here, buyer seller can see each other, can see the goods, he can see the money, so no issue, right? Now here in import export, you see in the international trade, you see buyer and seller can't see each other. That is why you have to be sure with whom you're trading. Do all the research first of all to find out before you start anything, are you happy with the person you're going to deal with? That is very important. To find out about if you are an exporter, you must see with the buyer what. Same story. Just it is not only that an importer has to find out about the supplier. Even if you are supplying, you have to find out about the buyer. Is he a person who gets the goods, will he pay? Or will he not pay? Right? Understand? That is important. Okay? So then what happens is, first thing he does is, he does a study about say, the embassy gave him a good report, right? Then the bank, he got a good report, or then he inquired in the market, he got a good report about the supply. So now he's happy. He's happy about this supply. He's good. Right. Now, what he does is, he's happy with it. And he will write back to the Singapore guy and say, I saw your advertisement in the paper. Okay. I saw it in the paper, and you say you're selling some toys. I want to import some toys. These are like, for example, I want some dolls, right? Then I want some battery operated cars. Then I want some, I can remember those we are these army guys, soldiers with battery, they start moving. Okay. Say 10 types of toys, right? 10 types of toys I want. Okay. I'm interested and I want it, say, will say that now this is December, so now no too late for Christmas. He wants that to sell those for the Urdu, right? For the April holidays, April New Year, Sri Lankan New Year, he wants to tell. He said, can you? And I want to supply these things should come to me by April, by March to put in the market by March. Can you supply? What who says? Now on this paper advertisement, our Sri Lankan guy has written to the Singapore guy, right? Now what the Singapore guy does is, okay, he will see this and he will send this Sri Lankan guy like a quotation saying, yes, I hear dolls battery operated, but nothing special is $6 each doll, right? I have dolls who can sing and drink the ice, that is $8. I have dolls who can walk, that is $12. I have battery operated cars, remote control car, cordless, so much. With the cord, so much, right? Or whatever, right? Okay. Let him give all the items, 10 items. And he'll send him a quotation, right? So, once he sends him a quotation, the importer in Sri Lanka will read that and say, oh, these are his prices. And he'll say, I can supply by March, I can ship the goods. Then he can put it in the ship by March from there. Load it into the ship, come to Sri Lanka. By end of February, I'll load it. By first week of March, you'll get it. You say, assume, just for example, right? So that quote, you in a quotation. Now that quotation that Singapore supplier sends, right? The quotation that Singapore supplier sends is what you call a pro forma invoice, right? Pro forma invoice is merely, we can call it quotation, right, of the items he is willing to sell and on what conditions. Don't take much heed about what the conditions are. Assume two things, will you? Then he has given the prices of the items and he has given that he can ship it by end of February, right? So that document that he sends him, right, is known as the pro forma invoice. Right now, document international, you learned one now already. Already you learned one. You know one. Okay. This is the pro forma invoice. Now, once the importer gets this pro forma invoice, what does he tells the exporter, the Singapore guy, Ching, okay, I confirm your order. Right? You can ship the goods to me. Right? Okay. Or of course they'll sign a simple contract or whatever rules. That don't want to about that. So he has agreed. Then what will the exporter Ching do after that? Once he got the confirmation from the Sri Lankan buyer that he's willing to buy, he has seen the pro forma invoice, he has seen his quotation, which is now called pro forma invoice, and he accepted it. And he has given the confirmation. Now he's got the confirmation to buy. What will the exporter do? Of course, he will start manufacturing the toys, right? He'll manufacture the toys and then he will put it in a lorry or something and take it to the Singapore port. Okay. And what will do in Singapore port? He'll go and wait there, like we wait in the bus stand. These are buses, Angoda, Maragama. I want to go to Nugigoda, right? Obviously, I want to go to Pitagotti, right? Pitagotti bus taken or we'll wait. So, like that example, he will, of course, this is not the way it happens, right? There are a lot of details. I'm cutting short, right? So, he'll wait for a ship that is going to Colombo and he'll tell the captain of the ship, Captain, yes, what are these? These are some toys, man, I want to send to Sri Lanka. Colombo, can you take it? So then the ship, right? The main man in the ship is known as the captain. Okay. Now there are details happening on the wharf and the clearing and all that. Don't need all that. I just roughly have a rough idea what happens. And so don't need to go to detail. So the captain says, yeah, yeah, okay. I'm going to Colombo. I'm on my way to. I'm going. Actually, I'm going down towards India, but I'm passing Colombo and going that way. I'm taking that route, right? So you say I can unload your goods at Colombo, right? So he says, you're agreeing to take? Yes, I'm agreeing to take, right? So he will load it. Okay. So the Singapore supplier will load his goods onto the ship of that is going to Colombo. Now, having loaded that, right, the the captain of the ship will give you a receipt now for the goods you have taken over. Yes, I have taken goods. You go to a railway station, also you want to go to buy a ticket, they give you a ticket, right? They give you a ticket. So that's like a document. Okay, like that. When the captain of the ship takes over the goods, he'll give this exporter in Singapore guy a document, right? Now that document, okay, is known as the bill of lading. Can you see? Bill of lading. I'll come to this commercial. Don't worry. I'll come to this. That document, now when he goes to ship, hand it over to the captain. Captain gives him a document, and that is known as the bill of lading. Right? Now, when the ship goes to Colombo, right, and we'll say the importer is Silva and Company, for example, right? So, Mr. Silva, the managing director, chairman, has to receive goods. So, what the Chinese guy will do is, he will send a message. He can, hello, Mr. Silva, how are you? I am very happy to tell you that I have shipped the goods to you in a right, say APL line or whatever shipping line, say Lanka Shanti or something like that, for example, right? That is going to Colombo, right? And they say today was the today is the 11th Saturday. I just shipped it. Ship is leaving in about 2 hours time. They say that they'll be in Sri Lanka within about say another 2 days time, 3 days time. They'll be there in Sri Lanka, right? They'll be done. They'll be in Sri Lanka. This will take exams. They will say 3 days it takes to come here. So by Tuesday, the ship will be there. Tuesday 11 o'clock, it might be at Colombo port. Example, right? Or say maybe 3-4 days. Right. Thank you, Silver. Now on Tuesday, so we say Silva, the chairman, he goes to the port and he waits at the port. Then he can see there are Lanka Shanti coming. Hey, going to Bombay, right? Going to Madras, wherever, right? Going to India, right? And this is a ship that is coming from Singapore. Then you see the captain and say, hi captain, how are you? Yes, fine. I am Silva. My friend Ching called me 2 days ago and told me that he sent some goods for me. Can you give to me? He asked, who are you? I am Silva. Here's my identity card. If you want, I also can give you. I got my card. I got both the vaccinations. I'll show that card also. Fully vaccinated, don't worry. I can talk to you. Right? And he show the ID card. But then the captain will say, okay, that's good. Your ID card is there, your vaccine card is there, that's okay, all right. But Mr. Silva, how can I give this to you? How do I know that you are the person who should get this? I don't know. Anyone can come and tell me, no, I'm Silva. There's so many Silvas, no, right? So people can have the vaccination cards, no. How can I do that? So for that reason, right? For that reason, the exporter, Mr. Ching, right? has to send this bill of lading. Can I told you, captain gave him a document when the captain took over the goods from the exporter in Singapore, right? When the captain took over the goods from Singapore, he gave this document to that Mr. Ching. Mr. Ching has to send this document, right? Mr. Ching has to send this document to Mr. Silva, right? And if Mr. Silva has this document, right, which was sent to him by Ching, and gives it to the captain, it is only then captain will release the goods to him. The document say from Ching to whom the goods are belonging to Silva. Now, the captain will not release the goods to Silva, right, unless Silva has this document that the captain gave to Mr. Ching in Singapore. Basically, little technically speaking, that is the document that will give the right to Silva to pick up the goods from the captain, right? That is the document that will give the rights to Silva to pick up the goods from the captain. Without that document, the captain will not release the goods to Silva. So, bill of lading is very popularly known as a title of document. Title document. That is what that entitles a person the right to claim the goods. Right? So, bill of lading is a title document. Also, it is like a receipt, no, for accepting your receipt, no. So, it is also a receipt from the captain of the ship that he received the goods to Ching. It's a receipt given to Ching. It is a receipt that is given. It acts as a receipt. It acts as a title document. And also, now taking the goods from Singapore and bringing it to Colombo is they perform a certain contract, no? The contract is you take the goods from Singapore and then you must hand over the goods to Silva in Colombo, right? Or unload in Colombo, right? So it's a contract, right? Right? Like the Ching and the captain have signed a contract where Ching may have paid to the captain whatever money needed, and the captain has agreed to carry the goods to Sri Lanka, right? That is a contract. So the bill of lading that is given, it acts as a receipt, it's a receipt, it acts as a title document, as also as a contract. When goods are carried from one place to another place, and that is the contract. The contract is carrying goods from one place to another place. That is known as contract of carriage. Okay, right? Contract of carriage, you can see, right? Contract to carry the goods. Contract carriage is nothing big. Contract carriage means that carry the goods, right? But most important part is you should remember it's a title document. Therefore, Silva has. So what does Ching has to do? Now the ship takes 1 week to come to Sri Lanka. In the meantime, the moment he hands over the goods to the captain, he will immediately send this bill of lading to Silva. Together with the bill of lading, right, now ship the goods, no, he'll also attach a document called the commercial invoice. Right. Commercial invoice means he is attaching the bill, how much he has to pay. When he ship the goods, no, it will say, Mr. Silva, I have shipped, right, so much on Lanka Shanti. These are the items. These are the toys, whatever toys they've done. And total amount you have to pay me is this amount. Okay. If he has ordered everything that the quotation said, then the quotation value and the commercial invoice value will be the same. Right? Maybe if it's part, it may differ, but They say, no, I don't want this, I don't want this, I'm taking only part, then the quotation amount and the invoice commission will not be same. But if they say he has ordered the full quotation and he accepted it, then the usually the quotation amount and the commission will be same. Now, commercial invoices will be attached to the bill of lading or put to the bill of lading and sent to the importer, Mr. Silva. And one thing is bill of lading will make Mr. Silva go and clear the goods on the port, right? Give the captain and do it. Other one is the commercial invoice is the bill saying how much Mr. Silva has to pay King. Bill that he has done. I done my job, now pay me. Like that. Yes, if you good, right? Before I go further than this, I'll go to the next document. Sometimes in certain countries, right? All countries don't have diplomatic relationship with each other, no, right? All are independent. For example, Middle East, you can't send anything from Iran, right? Sanction, US sanctions. You know, US sanctions, you can't import. So therefore, the customs might require, right, a document. Not only now the king will send a bill of lading plus the commercial invoice. Okay, but to certain countries, he may have to send a certificate origin as well, saying that these goods are of Singapore origin. Generally, you get the commercial places like the Chamber of Commerce and things like that, who normally issue this certificate. It is not given by the exponent. No point. No. It's given by accepted body like the chamber. Every country has Chamber of Commerce. They normally they issue this, right? That is known as certificate origin. Sometimes the importer might say here, not only sending the bill of lading is not enough. And commercial invoice, anyway you send me, you'll ask me how much I have to pay you. That I don't have to tell you, you will anyway send me. You'll have to. Commercial invoice, you tell me how much I have to pay, that I don't have to ask the document, you will anyway send me. But additionally, you have to send me certificate origin. Our government, our courts, they are asking for they want from your Chamber of Commerce or whatever government body or something, that certifying that these goods are of Singapore origin. Then you will send a certificate origin, right? Also, the buyer and the seller, the export importer will agree. They'll say, if Silva is not very sure, he's not very sure about the quality of the goods, right? So interesting. Once you manufacture the goods, right? I want it inspected and an inspection certificate given, right? Now, obviously, Mr. Silva will not ask for an inspection certificate from Ching, no. His own goods, he'll say, very good, no, right? So, no point asking for a certificate inspection to be issued by Ching. His own goods, he'll not condemn, no, anyway, even if he sends used items. So, what happens is, all over the world, right, you get specialized inspection companies who have branches all over, right? One is like SDS, Inspector General, right? Surveillance. Then there's another called Bureau Veritas, right? There are various companies. You go to internet, you can see so many inspection companies. They have branches all over the world, right? So they'll have their branches in Singapore also. They are like Bureau Veritas, SDS, they are reputed people. There are so many reputed people. So he will say, the importer will say, I want you to get SDS or Bureau Veritas to do an inspection. Okay, do an inspection and get me inspection certificate from them. Right? So then the importer, what Ching will do is, he'll manufacture goods, go to the inspection company in Singapore, say SDS office or Bureau Veritas office. Here, I want to send some goods to Sri Lanka, and that my buyer has said that he wants the inspection certificate. Can you come and inspect my goods and give a certificate? Right? So then that company will come and inspect, right? And give a certificate. Then also the seller say, here I want you to send me a packing list, right? Now your cartons will come, and I don't know where the doors are, where the remote control cars are. I can't open every box and checking. Tell me in which box how is it arranged? So I can straight away, I got a 5-story building. In one floor I sell dolls, in another floor I sell remote control cars, in another floor I sell these children's say building blocks or whatever, and like that I have about 5 stories. So if you give me a packing list and tell me in which carton what is there, I can straight away transport from when I bring my lorry after clearing from the port, I can put it into the respective floors. So just let me know how we have packed this. So the Ching will also have to require to make a packing list, right? That is not all cases, depends. And I'm just saying some documents, right? Somebody might want, somebody may not want. Then sometimes like if it's a commodity like say like some you're buying something by kilos something you're buying say for example coffee, right? They're sending coffee. With coffee, the if the importer is right, right, if coffee, this what they'll do is they will want a weight list. Each pack, how many grams, how many packs, what are the 1 kilograms, what are the 500 grams, what are the 200 grams, right? They'll want they'll want to uh, the importer Silva will want, if they import coffee, he'll want easy for him to pack. These are 1 kilo packs, okay, you can go here. These are 500 grams pack, can go. So he'll want a weight list to see how much, what are the weight of each item, each carton, what is the weight of each carton, like that he will want. So various things, right? Depends on what is required. So these are few documents I said. So mandatorily, what will happen is, right? Anyway, the Ching has to send the commercial invoice. That is the bill, right? What to pay, right? Then he has to send the bill of lading to enable Silva to clear the goods from the port. Or the captain will not give the goods to him, right? Then, if the depending on the country requirements, he may have to send a certificate of origin, right? And these documents, if the importer is asking, he may have to send. And that there can be so many documents, right? There are so many various types of documents he can be asking. Okay, so it varies. Understand? So I can go on and go on and go on, miss, but let us focus on these three documents mainly, right? Which one? Commercial, bill of lading, and the certificate of origin, right? So certificate of origin, he requires to show to the port and show the origin, and port will clear the goods, allow him to take the goods from out of the port, right? Then the bill of lading will enable the captain to give the goods to him. Commercial invoice is the bill that he's sending. Now they are done. He has done shipped the goods, telling Silva how much he has to pay, right? Now there is a confusion between what is a pro forma invoice and what is a commercial invoice. Now I think you all know quite clearly. Pro forma invoice is sent before shipping the goods. Before Ching ships the goods, that is like a quotation, right? And commercial invoice is the same thing, similar thing, but that is the bill that Silva has to pay. That is after shipment, right? If you want to remember it a little better, you think of when you go into a restaurant, what happens? You go into a restaurant, you will go to hotel, you sit down. What do you say? Gain the menu card. Menu card menu card you see rolls cutlets patties sandwiches tea, coffee, hot chocolate make a gana. Now you are looking at that and seeing what are the prices, right? That is like the pro forma invoice. That menu card is like the pro forma invoice. Before you eat, you're looking at this. Then you see and say, right, mata cutlet sandwich park whatever, right? If you're a friend or whatever you're ordering. Now you start eating. After eating what you're eating, he'll bring you a bill for you to pay. The cavani that may given, right? So that is known as just like the commercial invoice. You all have eaten, now pay. Commercial invoice, he has shipped the goods to Silva and put it on the ship, and now this is the amount he has to pay. The pro forma invoice before shipping, it's a quotation. Right? Look at and so you agree with the price and you like to buy it. Commercial invoice is after shipping, telling Silva how much he has to pay. That is pro forma invoice before eating, commercial invoice after eating. Right? So similarly, we can think of that. Right. So now we have come to, I come to explain to you what is the documents in international trade. Okay. Now, next we are going to do is now there is the exporter and there is the importer, right? Unlike the cargill, you bring the cart, you have your goods, you can see it, cash is there, he won't allow you to go. You give him the cash to his hand, he'll allow you to take the cart, right? You have the goods, you see it, and then only you pay. You don't give the cash to the you don't give the cash to the cashier without buying the goods, and you can wait what he can give. No, right? Now in international trade, it's not like that. See, if the person is in Singapore and you're in Sri Lanka, how are you going to do this simultaneously? When the Sri Lankan guy, when the Singapore person, Ching, sends the goods to Sri Lanka, he won't get the money immediately. Sri Lankan can't stretch his hand to Singapore and pay the money. No. Neither can the Singaporean stretch and give the goods to the Sri Lankan guy. So there will be a time gap. He might send the goods and then only the payment will be made by Silva. Right? Or maybe Silva will pay the money and then the goods will be sent by Ching to him. So how do they make payments in international trade? What are the methods, right? What are the methods in making payments in international trade, right? How is it done? What are the systems? What are the risks, right? So that is what I will cover next. Okay, I'll be covering next. That is what I'll be covering next. So I'll tell you what. Now it is 10:10 now. We'll take a small break. Okay, say by 10:25. Shall we start again? So now I stop. Okay, some of you may not had a breakfast or whatever. Have a quick breakfast and then we will start at 10:25. Okay. Okay, let us start. Now, like I told you, the first session I did before the break was a bit on a generalized way and not much of a, nothing micro, more on a macro level. And now it's a little micro level. Okay. So, like we'll do with the payment methods in international trade. So now you know what is import and export. You know what is the dollars requirement, how the dollar works, and what are the volumes of at what level international trade takes place in Sri Lanka as well as globally, right? And then you also got awareness of what are the key documents used in international trade. And I think the important part was where you got if somebody comes and tells you that he wants to do a import something or export something, how to find out about the other party. If the exporter, how to find out about the importer. If the importer, how to find out the exporter. I did that also. And most important thing is knowing the party that you're dealing with. That is very important, right? Now we are getting into a little more micro on the subject. And now we are coming to the payment methods. There are 4 methods of payment. Okay, cash with order, advance payment, that is known as advance payment. Cash with order means advance payment. Open account trading, documentary collections, and documentary credits, which is known as letters of credits as well. As you know, these are hot topics in these days regarding the fertilizer LC issued by People's Bank and the Chinese companies claiming the money. But I will to go to that level, intricate level is not required. But when I do this session, you will have an idea as to what this is all about. What is that? When you next time read the papers also, when you see this topic about People's Bank having issued an LC and a Chinese company claiming the money, right? What is it all about? You will have better insight when you read it next time. Okay, so shall we start with these payment methods? Assuming that all are back. First one, cash with order. What that means is cash with order means it's also known as advance payment. Prepayment. Buyer agrees to price of goods, buyer sends the payment to the order. So I'll go and explain to you from way of a diagram so that it will be easy for you to follow. Right now, take for example. You can see this, right? Now there is a exporter. Can you see? Seller and importer, buyer. So they pass a pro forma invoice, all that accepted. Generally, for anything, you sign a sales contract. No, any transaction, local law, abroad law, anything when you want to do business, you will sign a sales contract. Buy and sell, sign a sales contract. But this is a common document or anything, right? For if you're doing a buying and selling trade, you will anyway sign a sales contract. That is document number 1. The first day, what the buy and sell will do is once the pro forma, you can pro forma the quotation. Once is accepted, the Sri Lankan Silla says, yes, I am agreeable to your thing. Okay, let us sign a contract and we'll do the business. So this is the confirmation business. So sales contract is there, right? Then comes what happens really. So once the contract is signed, okay, in advance payment, you can see by the word itself, advance. That means what is excuse me, please. Rosie, door, please, door. Right. What happens here is advance payment, right? Prepayment. Pre means paying before. Advance means paying in advance, right? So here, naturally, obviously, the importer is paying in advance, right? Advance is paying in advance to the buyer, to the seller. Like here, unlike I told you, remember cargoes both are together? No. Here there is a time gap. So the importer, what is he doing? He says he's Sri Lanka. He's in advance payment. Importer pays the money first. Right. This is how it goes. Here's the importer. This is Sri Lanka, right? And he takes the money and comes to his bank. Okay. Of course, he'll bring rupees and the bank will convert in dollars. All that is, I don't want to go and delve into all that. No, it's not required for you, right? So he will come, put the money to the bank and tell the bank, look here, I am buying some item for $1,000 from this Chinese supplier, say Ching and company. Please send the money. So naturally, normally what happens is he will come with rupees equivalent to say $1,000 and deposit in the bank. The bank will take the rupees and give dollars. And what they'll do is, importer's bank will send the dollars to the exporter's bank. Number 3. Number 1, sales contract. Number 2, importer brings the money, puts it in the bank and tells the bank to send the money. Number 3, his importer's bank will send the money to the exporter's bank, right? And the exporter's bank will pay the money to the exporter. That's not difficult, no? Isn't it? Can you see this? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Once the exporter gets the money, what he will do is, he will ship the goods to the importer, right? Now, what does he here is goods are shipped, and what he'll do is, now goods are shipped to Sri Lanka, right? At the same time, what will the exporter do? He will send by courier, or most probably by courier, right? He'll send this document. Like I told you, we'll talk about 3 documents now. He will send him the bill of lading, because when he went and handed over the ship, the captain gave him a document, a title document. Otherwise, Silla will not be able to clear the goods now, right? And he will also give him, attached to that, the commercial invoice. That means telling Silva how much he has to pay. Okay. And then also, he will, maybe most cases, yes, he'll attach the certificate of origin, right? So generally what happens is, when Silva goes to the port to clear it, and before he comes in, there are certain checks done before he takes the goods from the port, right? Before he leaves Colombo port, he can't just go to the ship and load the lorry and come out, right? There are certain checks that are done, right? So these people who do the checks are generally people known as custom officers, right? So what happens is, say Silva goes in, practically it's not that Silva goes to the port and gets the goods, right? But I'll tell you, don't go detail on that. Just assume that Silva goes and he loads the lorry, and then he comes to the, try to go out of the port. Before he goes out of the port, now say he has come, now here the exporter has sent the bill of lading, the invoice, commercial invoice, not pro forma. I told you pro forma is before, like the menu, but commercial invoice like the bill after it. You ship the goods, no? So you send in the commercial invoice, right? And then he will also attach the certificate of origin. In most cases, they have to wait, right? In most cases. So then, what does he do? Now he has got the bill of lading, he has got the commercial invoice, he has got the certificate of origin, right? So he'll go to the port. We'll assume that this is the sea and the ship is here, right? And this is the port. Okay. Once he goes to the port, he'll unload the goods and load it on his lorry. Okay. And then after loading the lorry, he will come driving to go out of the port. Before going out of the port, there's a check, right? There's a custom check. Custom officers, they check the goods, right? And if it's a country that requires, Sri Lanka require, if the country that requires certificate of origin, they'll ask where is certificate of origin. Then shows certificate of origin, okay. Like that. Now, they'll ask how much are you paying? Okay. They'll say I'm paying how much is the value of the goods? What is the, how much has the exporter charge you for these goods? He'll say, he charged me, here's the invoice, commercial invoice. They look at the commercial invoice, say $1,000. Then a little additional information to you. When you import something into a country, import from the country to be used in the country, right? Okay. Government needs revenue. Government needs money to run the country. So, for varying items, there's a book, right, called HS code, right? Which you say, okay, if you are importing, for example, a person importing a TV, and the commercial invoice, the exporter has charged him $1,000, right? That book will tell you if it is a TV, before it takes out of the port, he has to pay a charge, right? He has to pay a charge. Okay. Maybe you say TVs. Oh, it all depends on how important the item is, and for various other factors, the rates are assessed and put into those items. Let us example, we say this TV, it says 25%. Anyone importing a TV for $1,000, according to the invoice, it is $1,000, right? Commercial invoice is 1,000. That means that is the amount the importer is going to pay or paid or whatever, right, to the exporter, right? Then he has to pay 25% of that amount in rupees to the port, those gentlemen who are checking him before he takes the TV and goes. So assume that according to that book, it says 25%. If a TV is imported from any country and coming into Sri Lanka, he has to pay 25%, right? Now, what this 25% means is, that is the custom duty, right? That is the customs duty. We call that customs duty. That is government revenue, right? So if a person imports a TV for $1,000 and the duty, custom duty is 25%, that means he has to pay in rupees equivalent of $250. Okay, because $1,000 is the item charged by the exporter, duty is 25%, right? Therefore, 25% is $250. So the silver, before he takes it out of the port, right, he has to pay 25%, 250 rupees. Sometimes varying on the item, right, it can change. For example, if it's a 4-door fridge, right, 4-door fridge, you see, actually it's a luxury item, no? Why do we have 4-door fridges, right? Some houses don't have 4 doors even, right? But some people have 4-door fridges, right? Then they say, oh, this is a luxury item. If they say the custom duty for this item is 200%. So if you bring a fridge for $1,000, you have to pay another $2,000 and only take it out of the boat. Actually, it's to discourage this thing, right? But there are people who want to have 4-door fridges. They don't care that people in houses don't have 4 doors, but they want to have 4-door fridges. So they can't, that's way. We can't argue on that. So if a person wants to have a fridge with 4 doors, then the duty is 200%, right? So then he has to pay another $2,000, and the fridge will cost, when he takes it out of the port, the fridge that he weighs, the export $1,000. When he takes it out of the port, it will cost him $3,000. $2,000 government revenue, right? Also, not all items are allowed to be imported. Somebody brings something into the country that is not allowed, right? Customs will confiscate. Before you bought it down, you should have checked whether it can be bought. And if he has bought something like item that is banned into Sri Lanka, then it will be confiscated, and depending on situation, he might be even penalized. You are supposed not to bring banned items, why you bring? And also, on the other hand, on the other side, there are certain items that there is no custom duty as well. You don't have to pay custom duty, right? Sometimes certain medicines, certain educational requirement, educational equipment or books or whatever required for education, certain food products. Customers say, government say no, no duty for those. No need to pay duty. So varies, huh? Some will have duty, some will not have duty, some will be banned, you can't import, so it varies. So those custom officers at that point, before he leave the port, they check on all this. Right? So what he does is he clear it. Now he got so the he got the money, he shipped the goods and sent the invoice, he went and cleared it on the port, right? And paid the duty and took it out. Here, what is the payment method? The importer is sending the money in advance. Can you see? Sending the money in advance. After, see number 5, shipping the goods is last. Of course, once he ships the goods, then the document also to him. The invoice, I said only 3 documents, we'll talk about the 3 documents. Invoice, BL, and the security sent, right? And number 5. Number 1, he contract, anyway, everything number 1 business contract. Then number 2, gives the money to the bank, money to exporter's bank, exporter gets the money, number 4, and then the exporter ships, right? But here, the risk is, okay, the risk is that supposing he sends the money to him and he doesn't do the number 5, he is not doing number 5. He is not doing number 5. Then what happens? He is at a risk. So, in an advanced method of payment or advance or payment method, the import is at a risk. Why is that? Because if he sends the money and he doesn't get the payment, he doesn't get the goods. If he doesn't get the goods, then of course he is at loss. Understand? Now you must understand. See this part very carefully. Now, he, as a Sri Lankan, you will have rupees, no? You will come and give rupees. Okay? Come and give rupees here. Alright. Now, the bank will have dollars. Banks have dollars, right? All the dollars are held by banks and things like that. So, the bank will take the rupees equivalent of $1,000 and send the $1,000 to him. If he does not ship, right? If he does not ship, he loses how much? $1,000 equal in rupees, what he gave. Okay. We'll assume it's 200,000 rupees, $1,000, 200,000 rupees. He gave rupees, no? So we'll say $1,000 is 200,000 rupees, he will lose 200,000. Just assume, for example, 200,000, right? But the bank sent the exporter not rupees, no? He won't accept rupees. He won't. But the bank sent dollars. Dollars they had all the money that the country has, all the dollars that the country has, right, will be its banks, right? Mainly banks, right? Treasury, central bank is controlling, central bank is the bank of the bankers. And now he has lost 200,000 rupees, right? Why? Because he paid 200,000 to the bank and he sent the money, but this exporter did not ship. So he lost. But do you realize, right? Not only did he lose 200,000, bank got 200K, but all the hard-earned money that we got by doing exports, by tourism, by worker remittances, and all that, what I said, that hard-earned money of dollars we earned, out of that $1,000 wasted. Why? Now say we did all hard-earned money, we got all our exports totally $10. We have kept this $10 to import very important items like rice and whatever, right? And we are keeping, we earned it very hard, right? We earned $3 from export, $1 from tourism, $1 from remittance. We earned $10. Now out of the $10 that we had, we sent $1 to, we sent $1 to the Chinese guy. right? And he doesn't ship the goods. Then what happens? Now we have only $9. We sent $1, but did we get goods in return to match the value? No. The Chinese guy did not ship. The Chinese guy did not ship. Right? Therefore, what happened? We lost. Country lost $1. That is example I said. Now, in this case, the bank is paying $1,000. So, out of our hard-earned money, by exports, by remittances, by tourism, foreign direct investments, borrowings, all that dollars we earn, we are losing $1,000. Why? Because we sent $1,000, but he didn't ship. Right? So, in an advance payment method, not only does the importer lose his $200,000, but also the country lost $1,000, right? You see. So now, in advance method of payment, the risk to the importer is quite huge because he can send the money, but maybe the exporter will not ship the goods. So then he will lose. You understand? Now that payment method is okay, no? We have to go through 4 payment methods. Now we have finished one, right? I hope it is clear and have been very simple and gone in detail. I hope there is no confusion and you all are quite aware of it, right? Then we go to the next one, open account. Now what is this open account? What is this? One you earn advance payment, right? Now we come to open account. Now in open account what is happening? The other way around. In advance payment, importer sends the money and then the exporter ships the goods. But in open account, the exporter ships the goods. This is number 2. Sales contract as he is sending the goods. Right? Once he receives the goods, he will make the payment. Here, then here, exporter's bank, payment here, and that is the payment. Right? You saw that? So, here, what happens? Who is at risk? Here, the risk is with the exporter. Why is that? He has shipped the goods to the importer, right? And importer does not do this part. This part is not done. Go to the bank, give the money, tell the bank to send the money, export. No, this doesn't happen. Then who loses? Then the exporter loses. Because he shipped the goods on open account basis and the importer did not pay. Right? Now, if a export customer comes to you and asks for payment methods, now you can tell him, if you get, say you are an export customer, why don't you tell that person to send the money to you advance? Then you are safe. Right? But if that person says do open account, be careful because you will send the goods and then you might not get the payment. See? So this part might not happen. Here the risk is to the exporter. Why is that? Because he shipped the goods, importer is not paying. Say $1,000 he shipped, importer did not pay. What about he has gained $1,000. Why? He got goods for $1,000, but he didn't pay. Therefore, he's up by $1,000. He got $1,000, he didn't pay. He has the $1,000 in him, but he got the goods, so he's happy. What happened to the country? What happened to the country? Country got goods worth $1,000, and thousand because he didn't pay $1,000 from the country did not go. So country also benefited. You see, country also benefited. So do you think that the central bank policy should encourage our importers to do open account, get the goods, and stay without paying? The more they get the goods and the more they don't pay, the more our foreign currency retained. So do you think it's a good thing? People are sending goods, we are not paying, we are keeping the dollars. Customers are enriching themselves by rupees, and countries enriching themselves by dollars. It's a good situation, isn't it? Very healthy for the country. Do you think? No, it's not healthy for the country. When what happens like this, right? If he sends open account and he doesn't pay, right? True, dollar did not go out, but then the overall reputation of the country, of course, he'll be blacklisted as a bad buyer, right? That is one part. But in the image of the country, it will go that Sri Lankan buyers are defaulters. When you send them some things, they don't send money. Then not only does the buyer get blacklisted, the whole country gets blacklisted. You understand? So if the whole country gets blacklisted, there will be a situation where the country very badly needs, well, urgent medical supplies. People are dying. I like to see all of these vaccinations. And since we are branded as, not we, I mean any country who does not pay, branded as people who take goods and don't pay, then nobody will supply the vaccines, right? Right? Why are the people supplying? Why are all the countries supplying today? Why are they supplying so much vaccines? 1 million vaccine doses, 300 million vaccine doses. They are giving Sri Lanka. Why? Because Sri Lanka has been honored and has never been heard of defaulting the obligations. They will never default. They're not defaulted, and God willing, will never default, right? So because we have been honorable, that is why people are willingly giving us things, right? To pay later. It's a good thing, isn't it, for the country? That is how open account goes. So open account is allowed in Sri Lanka, but importers can't get away. There is a system which I don't want to elaborate, right? But I tell you, there is a system where if goods are brought down on open account, it is tracked, right? It is tracked through the banks and through the channels, right? I think that's not required for all, but just understand that it is being tracked, right, by the central bank and the customs and everybody to see that who are the importers who are importing on an open account basis and not making the payment. If they find that they are doing something like that, they immediately blacklist that importer. And that importer cannot import anything from overseas anymore. Maybe he'll be penalized also. Right? So open account not that easy. Sri Lanka, to maintain its reputation, has all the controls to ensure that open account is not misused. So my friends, now we are done two payment methods. One is open account and one is advance payment. But you see, there is a haggle, isn't it? A problem. Exporter says advance payment method, I am agreeable. Then importer says, what are you talking, man? If I send the money to you and you don't pay, then who pays my? How do I get the goods? You might take the money and just keep quiet. If you talk about open account, exporter says, if I send the goods to you and you don't pay, what happens to me? I'm at loss. Now there's a haggle between the importer and exporter, right? And it's not that advance payment and open account doesn't take place. It takes place, unless they do it mostly when they are no parties are well known to each other. If the buyer is very confident of the exporter, right, of course, he'll have confidence that even if he sends the money, goods will come, right? Right? Or if the buyer needs the goods very badly, and say you're buying from a very reputed company in Germany or London or whatever, then you will not have much of a risk, you will do it. Open account also, it is done for known parties. So therefore, unless the buy and sell are very well known, this open account and advance payment method may not take place. Because otherwise, if you have, he'll be doubting, exporter will doubting the importer in open account, and the importer will be doubting the export on the advance payment. Now, then came another method called documentary collection. So to solve this problem, a thing came called documentary collection. Now, do you think documentary collection is a good method? Do you all think? Do you think documentary collection, you can see there are 4 methods now. Open account, advance payment, documentary collection, and letters of credit, right? Documentary credit. Now, do you think that documentary collection is a good method? What is your opinion? That's the best method. Now, you say, how would you expect us to answer that? Right? Okay. How would you expect us to answer that? When you're saying document is a good method, you have not told us what is document collection. And you ask me the best method. I can give a simple answer, a logical answer. Start, I said, advancement, there's a problem. Export is okay, import is not okay. Open account, that's why they can open account. Here, import is okay, export is not okay. Then can document collection. Because these 2 problems, we had document collection. Is this the best method? No, you can't answer because you don't know what it is, right? And that's why I'm asking. But you can say, I think it is not the best method. Why? Because there's another 4th method. Maybe something wrong in this. That is why this has come. Right? Then is document credit the best method? Maybe it's the best method. That is why there's no 5th one. Right? Like just that is only a logical answer, right? Not to way to answer a question, right? You answer. You don't answer like that. I just see logically. You say this is a problem, you had number 2. Number 2 is a problem, you had number 3. So is number 3 the best? No, can't be the best because number 4 is there. Maybe something wrong in document collection. Right? Then can document credits. Is document credit the best? Maybe that's the best. That is why there is no number 5. Okay? Just not an exact answer, but I just gave you all to look at that, right? Now, we are coming to documentary collections, right? You are reading that this part, you see, export appoints a bank as an agent to collect funds from the importer against the presented giving documents. Bank not involved in undertaking. Document credit may be released against document payment or against acceptance, DA, export bills of exporter's bill of exchange, subject to uniform rules. Right. Okay, now we see. What is it? Just simple. Don't get excited or don't think, oh, now they look complicated. No, there are too much of lines. No. Very simple, right? Very simple. A slight variation from what the 2 payment methods I already did. It's only a slight variation. In this, right, this is a contract. Now, what happens is, now listen carefully, right? How you going to ask the questions if you need, you can, right? They sign the contract and the exporter will ship the goods, right? Okay. In advance payment method, right? Sorry, in open account method, what the exporter did was he shipped the goods to Sri Lanka. Yes, think about Sri Lanka, right? Right? And sent the BL commercial invoice and the certificate origin to the importer. Ship the goods, came to Colombo port, ship is here. He sent the bill of lading, So, bill commercial invoice and the circulating to the importer. So, what the importer had to do in open account? He had to just go to the port, get the goods, hand over the bill, get the goods, do all the custom formalities, and take the goods out. Come out of the port and just keep quiet without doing this, without paying, without making payment, right? But now he has a slight variation. What he does is he ships the goods. Yes, ship will confirm says he has gone in the Singapore port, or the Singapore comes straight to that, it comes to Singapore port, right? Okay. But even though it comes to Colombo port, okay, he can't get the goods without the bill of lading, commercial invoice, and the survey only, right? So no point in goods coming to the port of Colombo, he can't clear it. So what he does is the seller ships the goods, but look at this variation. Those three documents I told you, bill of lading, he goes and gives it to his bank, exporter's bank, right? And the exporter's bank will send those documents to importer's bank, which is the collecting bank, and this bank is known as remitting bank, right? Now the bill of lading, the commercial invoice, and the certificate of origin is in the importer's bank. But importer can't go and clear it. Now goods are come to the Sri Lanka port. Why? He doesn't have those three documents. So once the documents come here, importer's bank will inform the importer, saying, Mr. Silva, here your friend Singh has done shipment from Singapore to Sri Lanka. The goods have come, right? Come to the port, but documents are with us. Please come and collect it. And they want you to pay $1,000. That's the value of the invoice. Commercial invoice value is $1,000. Pay the $1,000 and take the documents. Take the BL, take the origin, take the commercial invoice, right? So Silva will come here and pay the $1,000, right? And get the documents, go to the port and clear it. But the collecting bank, what the importer's bank, the collecting bank will do is they will get the money and send it to the exporter's bank, which is known as the remitting bank, right? And the exporter's bank will give the money to the exporter. Now, do you see here the situation? Unlike open account, where I ship the goods, right? He shipped the goods, but the exporter did not send the invoice, bill of lading, and the security to the importer. So importer could not go to the port to clear the goods because he doesn't have the documents. What he had to do is, because the exporter had sent the documents to his bank, he had to come to the bank, make the payment, and then only take the documents, right? And then go and get it. Now here, the exporter will get his payment. Am I right? You'll see it. Unlike open account, he can't go and clear. Where he gets the document direct, he can't go and clear. You understand? Unlike open account, he can't go and clear. Because he has to come, make the payment, and then only go and clear it. So here exporter gets the payment, importer gets the goods. Right? So here you can see a little protection, like, you know, it looks okay here. Importer can't clear the goods, correct? He has to come and make the payment, take the document and clear it. And when he makes the payment, Importer's bank will send the money to the exporter's bank. Right? That's how it looks. Correct? So it looks like the exporter is, in this method, exporter is a bit satisfied. He gets the money. Importer can't go and clear the goods without paying the money because the documents are with the bank. So he looks comfortable, right? Now that when the importer comes and pays the money and takes the documents, pays the money and takes the documents, right? That is known as documents against payment. He pays and takes the document. Documents against payment. So this under document collection, the exporter has been dealing with the importer on a DP basis. We call it DP basis. That is, the importer has to come and pay the money and then only gets the document. Right? Get the point? That's what we call it. But there's another thing called DA basis also. Right? There's another thing called DA basis. What is the DA basis? Now we'll say the importer and the exporter, right? Importer, exporter. He has been dealing very regularly with this buyer, this exporter, and every time he is sent on DP basis. He comes, he pays, he takes out. He sends the goods, sends the documents, comes and pays, takes. After a period of time, right? The importer will tell the exporter, look here, Mr. Ching, we have been doing business for the last 2 years, and spot on, I have not failed one payment, right? I have not delayed a single payment. Whenever your bank says documents come from me, I'll go and pay and take it. So I have been very good with you, all right? So, is it possible for you to give me a small concession? What is this concession? He's saying, when importer is telling the exporter, when you send the documents like this to the importer's bank is telling me to pay money and take it. Right? Now, though I pay money to you, I pay money and take it. When I go to the market and try to resell this to small shops or whatever, they won't pay me cash. Give me checks. They want credit. Say for about 2 months, 3 months, credit they want. So he'll ask the exporter, Ching, my friend, can you please give me, now we are done DP, have been very satisfied, you are satisfied with my ways. Can you please do on a DA basis? Right? Now we did DP now, we'll do on a DA basis. What is DA? DA basis means, right? This is what it means, DA. DA means, now the documents are come here, right? Here done, shipment, documents come here. Under DP, the importer is supposed to pay and take the documents, right? But under DA, right? Because of the good relationship that they had, he might tell the bank, look here, I have been always doing DP with them and you are taking money and giving documents to him. But I think now I have got a good relationship. Also, looking on the side of the exporter, he finds that the importer now has established goods in the market locally, Sri Lanka. So everybody knows this exporter's goods are good. So he can't break that also, no. He has maintained that also. So he says, when Silva comes next time to you, to the bank, tell him that he can take the bill of exchange, invoice, and the certificate of origin without making the payment. Right? But however, before he does that, he has to give a letter of undertaking. Right? Normally, in financial technical ways, there's a thing called bill of exchange, right? So, bill of exchange, letter of undertaking, I will not go to deal the difference between those two, but just understand. Either you sign a bill of exchange, accept a bill of exchange, or you undertaking. Both are basically undertaking, right? Undertaking that from today is the 11th of December, right? 60 days from the day he took this uh, document from you. Say, just assume January 11th, February 11th. Undertaking that on February 11th, he'll come and give the money, $1,000, to be sent to the exporter. Now we can release the documents to him without taking money, but tell him to give that undertaking, either by way of bill of exchange or by way of letter. Just don't know what it is, but an undertaking, right? Undertaking to pay 60 days later. That's agreement will say for credit, whatever. It can be 60, 90, 100, whatever, right? But we just assume 60 days. Now here, what is the exporter doing? Here the exporter is giving him credit. It's not a cash sale. The importer doesn't have to pay cash immediately. So exporter is giving time to the importer to pay 60 days later. On an undertaking given by the importer that he will pay 60 days from now, he will pay the money. Right? So he's giving undertaking, he's giving an acceptance that he will pay after 60 days. He's accepting to pay, he's giving undertaking, he's giving an acceptance saying that I accept to pay, or I undertake to pay 60 days from today the due amount. Right? So now Silva will not pay cash. He'll give that undertaking. So when it is that system where the exporter is giving the importer some credit, time to pay, you call that DA. Right? Meaning documents against acceptance. DA. One is documents against payment. DP. You have to pay and take the money, document. Document acceptance means he gives an acceptance to pay later, undertake. Right? So here he'll come here, give an undertaking to pay us 60 days later and take the document, go and clear the goods. But at maturity, say when February 11th comes and the importer does not provide the money to send to the exporter, then what happens is the importer's bank will inform the exporter's bank telling, please tell your exporter that today is February 11th, right? We asked Mr. Silva for money and he says he has no money to pay. I'm making things very short, right? I'm cutting short, right? Now what to do? Understand, just because the importer's bank took an undertaking from the importer, what he gave, his undertaking, they just took it and filed it in the file. Right? If he does not pay on the due date, he is not obliged. It is not the responsibility of the importer bank to pay. If he doesn't pay, hard luck. Say no. So what will happen finally is, if he doesn't pay, I won't make it too long, right? If he doesn't pay, that undertaking, can remember, I told you give undertaking. That undertaking will be sent to the exporter. And on that undertaking, if the bill of exchange, if the undertaking was by way of a bill of exchange, then he will bring action against the importer under the Bill of Exchange Ordinance. Or if it's a letter of undertaking, then he'll sue him in courts for the money. Right? For non-payment, he'll sue the person. Right? The exporter will sue the importer. But nowhere is the most important thing is nowhere is the importer's bank or the exporter's bank responsible for the payment. You'll need this when you come to document credits, right? But there's a thing called, in this collecting called, I'll show you, avalization, right? Now let us talk a little on avalization. Okay. Avalization means, now what did I tell you? DA means the exporter gives some credit to the importer, but if the importer does not pay at maturity, right, on the due date, then there is no responsibility on the importer's bank to make the payment, no responsibility on the exporter's bank to make the payment. Obviously, exporter's bank will not be involved, right? But in avalization, payment undertaking given by a bank in respect of bill of exchange drawn on a buyer by way of giving security to the drawer term bill. The bill is stamped with the wording avalized and signed by the bank. Bill of exchange in effect. Right. I'll tell you what it is. Right now, let's go to the slide back again. Okay. Now here, in this case, when the importer asks the exporter for a credit period of 60 days, the exporter is telling the importer, look here, my friend, I know you are a good customer. All my DP bills you have paid on time, you pay and taken, right? You're good, very good. Otherwise, you won't get the documents anyway without paying. You're paid and I'm very happy with you. But to give you credit, I'm not that happy. I'm not that happy to give you credit. Right? 60 days, what if you take and don't pay? But I'll try to help you in a small way for the present moment. Till I test you out, we'll do something. What is that? Yeah, export is asking. So the exporter says, you give an undertaking that you will pay after 60 days. Right? Right? But to that undertaking, I want your bank to also make an endorsement or say your word saying that our importer, and these are not the exact way it happens, but the meaning I'm bringing out, right? Our importer Silva has asked you for 60 days credit, right? Now we as the bank of Silva is telling the exporter, on the due date, if Silva does not pay the money, we will pay the money. Now here this undertaking gives, in avalization, the importer bank is getting involved. In addition to the undertaking given by the importer that he will pay on due date, the importer's bank is also endorsing that, saying that don't worry. Silva says he'll pay on the 11th. But any chance Silva does not pay you, right? I will pay you. Who is saying? The importer's bank. So basically what happens is the importer's bank is avalizing the importer's undertaking. He is avalizing. That is called avalization. In a DA documentary collection, where usually importer gives the undertaking to the exporter, additionally, the importer's bank is also endorsing that by saying, if the importer does not pay on the due date, we will pay. then the bank is getting involved. Normal DA, exporter does not pay on due date, nothing to do with the importer's bank. You're not said anything. But if the evaluation is involved, right, then what is the importer's bank doing? Giving another assurance to the exporter. If the importer says he is going to pay in 60 days, February 11th, and if he does not pay, then we are guaranteeing that we will pay, right? That is what you call evaluation. So the exporter says, we will give, I'll give you credit, but we will do on a evaluation base. Let your bank guarantee me payment. After going through that, if I find that you are paying and your bank, I don't have to depend on a bank guarantee. Over a period, I find that no, you are paying everything on the due date. There is no need for me to go and claim from your bank, even though the bank has guaranteed that if you don't pay, they will pay. For 2 years, I find that you are never. I have not had a situation where I have to go and get your bank to pay me. Therefore, you're good. Then from then onwards, we'll withdraw the evaluation. The evaluation incurs charges, right? Charges, facilities, all that, right? So that is what we call evaluation, right? Now, having said all this, site, the importer won't get the documents without paying. You're happy. Importer is happy, exporter is happy. In DA, yes, there's a risk. Importer can take the goods, not pay, but then the exporter will go to court with the undertaking suing. In evaluation, if the importer does not pay, the importer bank will pay, right? Then what is the risk in this method of payment to the for documentary credits to come in? Fourth one. Why did documentary credits come into the scene? What was the reason that documentary credits had to come in this scene, into the scene, right? When this documentation looked, okay, site bill, importer pays, he gets the documents, money goes to the exporter. So what? Matter is solved. Then, okay, DA, there may be a risk. The exporter is taking a risk. If the importer does not pay, okay, he can take the undertaking and sue him. But that's not a good option. But DA evaluation, importer is saying he will pay, his bank is saying they will pay, then what's the problem? So why this fourth method? Friends, be very careful, listen to this. Why did we have this fourth method? Right? In the fourth method, now what is the risk? First, to know why the fourth method came about, you must know what is the risk in this. The document correction. Alright. Assume that this is a side bill. When you have D and all, we don't have to talk about, we'll talk about just a simple one, side bill. He shipped the goods. He sent the documents direct to the importer bank, right? And we inform Silva, come and take what is it. At this stage, just imagine he confirmed the order. No? So what he did, he got the workers and got his laborers, got the raw material, built it up, and made the toys, packed it up, got a truck, went to the Singapore port, loaded into the ship, and sent it to Colombo, paying all the charges, whatever, right? Now the ship has come to Colombo. Now he has sent the documents to the importer's bank. Importer has to pay and take them. That's all. The risk here is, what if the importer tells? What if the importer tells? Now here importer info. Silva, come here. Your friend Mr. Ching has sent you a consignment toys for $1,000. We say $1,000. $1,000. Please come and pay $1,000 and take the bill of lading invoice, commercial invoice, and the invoice. Then Silva says, at that time, what if Silva says, tells the bank, look here, Mr. Bank Manager, I have now started importing vehicle. I am in the vehicle business. I am not in the toy business anymore. So I don't need the bill of exchange, commercial invoice, certificate of origin relating to a toy import. Tell Mr. Ching, thank you very much, but that I have now changed to vehicle business. What if the importer come and tells that to this bank, to his bank? There is nothing you can do, right? He just go back and tell the exporter bank, look here, you sent me the bill of exchange, you sent me the invoice, you sent me the Synogen, but Mr. Silva says that he has moved to vehicle business and no more toy business. So he doesn't want it. What do you want me to do with these three documents you have given me? Uh, Now will the exporter get the money? The crux of the matter is, I can explain more detail, but coming to the point, main point, I'm trying to curtail it, right? I had to document it also. Crux of the matter is, if the importer, Silva, refuses the goods, then the exporter does not get the money. That is a risk. Silva will only take the goods if he wants. If he says, no, I don't want, and rejects and say, no, no, I am in vehicle business, I don't want toys, then how will the exporter get the money? Now see what happened to him. He spent all that money, manufactured the toys, paid the shipment, and sent the ship also. And now the goods are in Colombo, right? Goods are in Colombo in the port. He does know Sri Lanka also, right? It is lying in the port and can't, no money is coming. See? So the risk in a document collection is, if the importer does not accept the shipment, then the exporter is at a big risk. We won't get the money. Now you might ask me, what about evaluation? Right? Bank content. Right? Now this part I'm going to explain to very clearly. Please understand. Okay, what is evaluation? Exporter is giving an importer a credit period, right? And then he sends the document. Please release documents to the importer Silva on a 60 days credit period, right? But availized by you. You means importer bank. You must guarantee the payment. You must counter guarantee the payment. That's what he's saying. That is so. Then is that safe? Now, when the bank is evaluating, right? What is the role? Listen to the role played by this. Very important. The next one. When you say bank is evaluating means, if, see, capital IF, if the importer gives an undertaking to pay and takes the documents, if the importer gives an undertaking to pay and he does not pay, then the importer's bank will pay, right? If he gives. Now when the documents come and they inform, come here, 60 days DA, we are going to guarantee the payment, come and take the documents. He will say, what are you guaranteeing? We are going to guarantee that in the undertaking that you are giving, now the bank is Silva, in the undertaking that you are giving, that you will pay in 60 days, and if you don't pay, we are going to pay. That is what Avalanche says. Then Silva says, hold it, hold it, hold it. You are going to give an undertaking that if I fail to pay under my undertaking, then you will pay. So because of that, and now that I'm dealing in vehicles, I won't give you an undertaking because I'm not going to take the goods. I don't need the goods. Only if I'm taking the goods that I give you undertaking. No, I don't want to give them. So he tells the bank, if I don't give you an undertaking, if I don't give the export an undertaking that I'll pay this, then how can there be default by me? I am not given undertaking, right? So therefore, the importer's bank cannot guarantee. Guarantee what? Only the importer gives an undertaking, the bank can guarantee. Here, importer says, no, no, I won't take the goods. I don't want the goods. I don't want the goods. Even on DA basis, I don't want. I am not going to give an undertaking, right? So if the importer does not give an undertaking, then the importer's bank can't guarantee anything. What to guarantee? There is no undertaking by the importer. He is saying, I don't want the goods. He is not giving an undertaking. Then how can the bank guarantee? So the evaluation is subject to the protection of the importer's bank comes only if the importer gives an undertaking. So if he rejecting the goods, he won't give an undertaking. So if he doesn't give an undertaking, then his bank cannot guarantee anything. So status is same, whether it is evaluation, whether it is DA, whether it is DP site, all are gone if the importer says, I don't want the goods and don't accept the goods, then it's a exporter will not get the payment. That is the risk. The rejection of the goods by the importer, where exporter will not get the money, whether it is DP or whether it is DA or whether it is evaluation, right? But the point, that is a risk in document collection. Now, normally when the exporter is a bit doubtful, right? When he's doubtful of the importer, he will put on the schedule now, like the goods account, Sri Lanka, no, right? Goods is Sri Lanka. So he doesn't know anything what to do. What he normally does is he appoints an agent in Sri Lanka, thinking that the risk that importer might reject, right? And then he will put an agent, arrange an agent to take over the transaction from there on. So what he'll say is, when he's sending the documents to the importer's bank, he'll say, in the event the importer rejects this shipment and does not accept the documents, please contact my agent in Sri Lanka, say Perra and Sons, right? Or Perra and Company, right? Or Fernand and Company, right? Who will handle my goods that I in the port in Sri Lanka, where they will do the job of finding another buyer, and always it will happen is he will never get able to sell the goods for the price is given him. $1,000, it will always be for a discount because he's trying to sell stuck goods, no, right? But I will come to that slide, okay? I'll show it that way. Here. If the principal nominates a representative to act as case of need, that person who is appointed as a contact party agent of the buyer of the exporter in Sri Lanka is known as case of need. Article, you know this. Even if you do LCs or you do documentary collections, these are all the documentary collection method of payment or documentary credits method of payment is a universal. It's a universal activity, no. So lot of countries are taking part in this, right? Lot of countries are involved in this. So that lot of people are talking different languages. The Hongkis are talking, the Chinese are talking, the Saudis are talking, the Qataris are talking. Everybody talking. Now if one fellow say, no, what I said was this, what I said was that. There can be misinterpretations, lot of problems, right? So the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, has set out a certain guideline rules that normally when you do a documentary collection, in that letter that they send, they'll say these are subject to the ICC rules, right? Presently, the rules applicable to documentary collections is URC 522, Uniform Rules for Collection 522. So all the banks, doing collection, normally subscribe to this, and they say all their collections has to be handled in line with this publication URC 522, which is make it convenient for everybody to tell, no, this is the law, right? So that there will be no misinterpretations and misunderstandings and no problem. So in these articles of Article 25, you get a thing called case of need, right? A principal. So this person is the person who will be nominated in that letter saying so and so Fernando and company is our agent, right? But the exporter has to tell the bank, yeah, not worth putting the name only. If the principal nominees are willing to act as a case of need in the event of non-payment or non-acceptance, the collection instruction should clearly and fully indicate powers of Fernando company. What are the supposed, your agent, what are they supposed to do? In the absence of such indication, banks will not accept any instruction from the case of need. They must say, okay, our case of need is Fernando and company. He is authorized to go and find another buyer, right? Now it's $1,000, right? If you bring someone with a 10% discount or 20% discount, if you bring the buyer for $800, please allow him to give that goods to him, like that, right? So it's given to him, and the case of need, what the case of need should do, what are his powers, also the exporter has to indicate in his letter. They will not take any instructions from the case on from Fernando. Fernando comes and say, no, he told Mr. Ching told me to give the goods free to me. No. The bank will not. No, we can't say. In the letter that they are sent to us, then they are not saying that release goods to Fernando free of payment. No, nothing like that, right? Unless they'll do only what Mr. Ching has said are the powers given to Mr. Fernando, right? That's what it means. That's what we call case of need, right, friends? So that is right. So here, so when the exporter doubts whether the importer will reject, he'll have a case of need, and he has to specify, I am Fernando and company is my case of need. In case the importer rejects, he has the power to bring a buyer with a 20% discount. You can release or whatever, something like that, right? Now we are going on to the next one. Okay. Now you understood the risk here. Everything okay, but if the importer rejects the shipment, then the exporter will not get the money, whether it is document against payment, document collection, or acceptance, or availability, right? So that is the risk. So to overcome that risk of rejection of the goods by the importer, mainly is the reason for the fourth payment term, document credit, which I'm going to do now, right? I hope it's clear to you all. I've done it very basically and made it very short. I'm sure you will not find it difficult at all. Okay. Now we are going to now you saw, you know what the problems are in advance payment, prepayment. You know what are the problems in the open account. You know what are the problems in document collection. Now we are coming to the fourth one, document credit, right? Here, sorry. Here, these are ICC rules. The present revision was by Council in 1995. If you are, these are rules. There are 26 articles in that. In Uniform Rules of Collection, URC, right? URC white, right? It's covered. So everybody subscribes easy. Any interpretation, they go by this is the law. Don't talk. That's it. Otherwise, there is whole, the Chinese guys will talk one way, the Honkies will talk one way, Germans will talk one way. My God, it will be a yellow mess, right? And British will talk some other way. And also, this is a simple thing. These are the parties to a collection, right? Because principal is the person, the exporter. Remitting bank is exporter's bank, right? Collecting bank is importer's bank, and drawee, the person who has to pay, is the importer. Right. Now we come here. What is the document credit? This is the last payment term, right? And then I think we should be able to finish on time. Document credits is an undertaking given by a bank, issuing bank, to the seller at the request and on the instructions of the buyer to pay at sight or at a future determinable date, the status of money against compliant presentation with the document. Yet now all this jargon is there, right? But it's not. What it says underlying is a very simple thing, right? So I'll explain that to you. Okay. You can memorize this, but memorize it with understand. Huh? Try to understand. No point just memorizing. Just try to understand what it's saying. Right. Undertake and until you what is this one. Now this is how it works. Now what has happened is there is a importer and an exporter. Exporter told the importer, we will work on advance payment. You send me the money, I'll send the goods. Importer said, no, crazy. If I send you the money and you don't ship the goods, what do I do? Oh, right, you can't. Okay, then drop that. Then importer, right, if you're saying like that, let us don't open account. Then exporter, that's a hell of a thing. I send you the goods and you don't pay me the money. Then what happens? Where do I stand? Okay, that's also gone. That's wrong. Then what do we do? Right, document collection. Importer says, goods are documents I won't get to the hand. No, I have to pay not to take it. So we'll do document collection. The exporter says, document collection. What if I make the shipment and send it there? You say you don't want the shipment. Then what happens? You won't pay. So what is your document collection? What if you reject? What do I do with the goods? I spent all the money manufactured and all that, sent it, paid for the shipment and all that, and you don't get. So where do you say I am guaranteed of money? I'm not guaranteed of money. Because if you reject the goods, you don't take my documents, I don't get the money. So document collection is also not good. Then the exporter gets tired and said, the importer is tired and said, then what do you want? Right? He said, I want documentary credit method of payment. Okay, what is that now? Right? Here, very simple, all those words you read. Now, after I explain to you, when you read that definition, you will find it very easy, right? Here, what happens is the exporter, right? Sign contract, okay, no? The importer. Importer goes to his bank, right? And tells the bank, look here, sir, I need some very urgent items from Mr. Ching in Singapore, right? But he's not willing for, I'm not willing for advance payment. He might not ship the goods to me. He's not willing to open account, saying that I might take the goods and not pay him. He's not willing for even collections because saying that if he ships the goods and I don't accept, then he doesn't get the money. Now he wants me to conform to documented credit, right? So can you please help me? Right. Now what is that to help? In documentary credit method, I'll put in simple words, right? Exporter is seated in his office, not considering about the importer's order, right? Till it is by way of document credit. Here, the importer's bank, right? Importer's bank, right? I don't know you can see my arrow, but I hope you can see. Importer's bank is giving a guarantee, undertaking to the exporter. Listen, he is giving the guarantee to the exporter, telling him, look here, I am giving you this guarantee for you to ship $1,000 worth of goods to our customer, Mr. Silva. The moment you tell me that you have done that, we will pay you. That is the crux of a document credit, right? Method of payment. Where the importer's bank, usually importer's bank, you can take other bank, but not required. We just for a moment assume it's importer's bank, or whatever arrangements the importer makes, right? But for the moment, importer's bank, right? Importer's bank gives an exporter an assurance, a guarantee that if the exporter ships $1,000 worth of toys per the, we say some pro forma, some quotation number, right? Order, the importer's bank will pay. Importer bank, look here, Mr. Ching, you just ship those goods and let me know I will pay you. Who is saying? Importer's bank is saying. Right? So what now see? Without doing anything, exporter just sitting in office, he has got the guarantee from the bank. Right? In collection, he manufactures just everything and sends, and finally when the goods go to Sri Lanka and documents go only, he realizes that importer is not buying. But here, the bank in advance is sending a guarantee to the exporter. Look here, Ching, you ship $1,000 worth of toys to our customer Silva, and I guarantee to pay you $1,000. Now, how will the importer's bank know that Ching has done the job? I'm sure it's a simple answer for you. Of course, the bank will know that Ching has done the job when Ching ships the goods and sends the BL to the importer's bank. Right? You ship the goods and send the BL to the importer's bank. That proves that Ching has done what is required. He'll send the BL, he'll send the commercial invoice and demand for the money, and also certificate of origin and whatever weight list, packing list, all the other documents also can come in that, right? You might ask, they'll see that the guarantee that is now that guarantee they are giving is what you call letter of credit. He sends a letter of credit, like the guarantee that is sent to the exporter is known as a letter of credit. They call it letter of credit, they call document of credit, both are same, right? Document of credit, letter of credit, both are same, right? So now the exporter just sat in his seat, got a now actually what happens is now if the importer's bank sends it direct to him, right, direct to the exporter, he won't know. No, he does know what a bank is. ABC bank in Sri Lanka. How does he know about ABC bank in Sri Lanka? He can get from courier letter or some method message. He does authentic. Supposing he goes by that letter and he ships and sends the BL to ABC bank. And ABC bank says, no, we never sent anything. What is this? You have sent on nonsense. We never did it. We forged. We don't know what this is. So, to ensure that the message that he received, exporter received from ABC bank is authentic, right? ABC bank will send it to, they have arranged, Standard Chartered or HSBC, whatever. Normally, ABC bank will have their correspondent banks in Singapore, with whom they are relationship. They'll send a message to them and they will inform the exporter saying, look here, Mr. Ching, our good friend, our correspondent bank in Sri Lanka, ABC Bank, has sent a message. And we confirm to you that this is an authentic message from ABC Bank. Then exporter is happy, the authentic message, right? And then what happens? He will then only start manufacturing. So before he starts doing anything at all, he has already got the guarantee from the issuing bank, from the importer bank, which is known as the issuing bank, right? Else issuing bank. So you see, now he will manufacture, ship it, take by lorry, put in the ship, and send the BL and the invoice and the origin to the importer's bank, right? Normally sent through the, I won't go details, sent through the exporter's bank, it comes here, right? Now here, say the ship is coming from Singapore, right? And coming to India, it sinks, right? It sank. Something happened and sank. Or the ship has come to Colombo and is lying in port. Not yet cleared, goods are not cleared. In this scenario, there is no necessity, right? The exporter is not concerned whether the importer is taking the goods or whether the ship after leaving from Singapore has sunk in the Middle Ocean. No. His contract was to ship the goods, load the ship goods onto the ship in Singapore. Whether the ship is going from, says, I'm going to Colombo and goes to somewhere else, or it's pirated, or some rogues are getting into the ship. That is not the game. The undertaking by the issuing bank is you ship the goods and send me the evidence that you have shipped it. Right? So whether the ship has come to Colombo and importer says I don't want the good, reject the good, that does the assurance LC issue was issued by the issuing importer's bank on the request of the importer, right? Whether they are going to give a assurance to the exporter or not is between the importer and importer's bank. Nothing to do with the exporter. Exporter goes only, the contract is only between the importer's bank and the exporter, right? Nothing to do with the importer. Whatever, if he doesn't pay, he does not, the documents have come, he has sent it. His account is zero, no money at all. Importer's bank cannot stay without paying because the exporter exported the goods on the guarantee of the importer's bank, not on anything to do with exporter. Whether they have no money, they have paid the money to the exporter. How they recover that from the importer has got nothing to do with the exporter. That is between those two. Nothing to do. You pay me, exporter say. How you are going to get the money? Now today's account is zero. How you are going to get the money is not my concern. I shipped on your word, on the importer's bank word. Now pay me. Now do you see the advantage of a documented credit method of payment? He doesn't have to worry at all whether the export is rejecting, not taking, whether he has gone to vehicle business or whether he has gone to the toy business or whether he has gone to garment business. It does not matter to him, right? He shipped it. You said you ship and send me the documents. I'll pay you. The issuing bank has to pay, right? Okay. Now you know the crux of what a document credit is. Now these are just types of the document credits. I will not go through in detail too much, okay? But these are documents that come across to you, but I'll go briefly, okay? I will not take, these are technically operating, it's quite detailed, but don't worry. I only want to give an awareness, sufficient enough to understand. Somebody comes and says, "Red, I'm going to credit loss credit." You must know what credit loss credit is. I want to do a standby credit. You must know what a standby credit is. What is zero credit? You must know, right? Not the intricacies and the core technicals of it, but at least when a customer talks to you, must know what it is, right? Okay, now let us go to this, right? Irrevocable document credit. This means basically what it says is, right, when a bank, like I told the importer's bank, right, he gave assurance to the exporter, no, you ship $1,000 worth of toys to my Silva, I will pay you, right? Now we'll say, he said, you shipped $1,000 worth of dolls, right? $1,000 worth of dolls to our importer, our customer Silva, will pay you, right? Once a issuing bank issues an LC like that, gives a guarantee like that, that assurance stands. It cannot be changed at all. It is an irrevocable undertaking, irrevocable. Irrevocable means you cannot change. The issuing bank, importer's bank can't go to one. No, I told you yesterday that about the toy, no need, man. We told this fellow guy is not good. I don't think he'll pay. So cancel that. No, you can't. You can't cancel. You can't change one word on that, one letter on it. You can't change. What you are given is given. For example, say today is December 11th, and you want the goods for April. You went and asked $1,000 worth of dolls. But then somewhere in mid of January, your Silva comes to the bank and says, "Yeah, don't done the dolls and all. Now people have become matured. They are high-tech people. They want remote control cars. Dolls won't sell. Even the girls are playing with remote control cars. So I won't be able to sell dolls. Change that to and tell that guy to send remote control cars. So if the bank sends a letter, says, look here, we opened and we gave you we opened LCT giving assurance that you send $1,000 worth of dolls, but today my customer says, man, he doesn't want it, he wants, please change that and send us remote control cars, right? That is not valid. Even if the bank says in January, send us $1,000 worth of remote control cars and changes it from dollars to cars. And in say February or end of February, the exporter, who is Ching, ships the original one, dolls, the importer's bank has to pay. You can't change. But supposing, say after getting this assurance from the LC, now the Ching has not yet started manufacturing, right? He had not manufactured dolls, neither he manufactured cars, right? So he goes to the wife and his family to a holiday, right? And they come back. And he finds there's a letter from the bank saying, look here, Mr. Ching, sorry, our importer says that he doesn't want dolls, he wants remote control cars, right? Can you please change it? Now, the exporter will think, oh, I have not shipped anything, no, I have not even manufactured anything yet. I have not manufactured dolls. And also further it says, we know the doll is only $5, but the remote control car is $15. Doesn't matter, we'll pay the extra money. All there. Then the exporter, oh my God, this is a better deal for me. From the dollar I'm getting, from the doll I'm getting only $2, but from remote control cars I get $5 profit. So if he likes, and if he thinks it's the better for him to change it from dolls to cars, then the exporter, that is Ching, can ship cars. Only if he likes. Any changes in the terms of the letter of credit, they'll see, right? I call it LC. You might hear me using both words, right? The letter of credit, LC, right? Can be done, but only if the exporter is willing to do it, accept it, right? Only if the exporter is willing for it. Otherwise, you can't do any change. If the exporter says no, you can say 100 things after issuing LC, all is not valid. The original LC stands. Unless whatever changes that you send, the exporter is willing to accept. Or you can reject. Okay? That is what we call irrevocable. One short word, irrevocable, no change. Finish. Irrevocable is over, right? Irrevocable confirm credit, right? This looks complicated, right? So I'll go back to, I'll make simple words, very simply I'll put it to you. Now now here the LC is issued now from ABC bank to the exporter. Through this bank it goes there, right? This is a normal irrevocable documentary credit. What he has given cannot change unless he is agreeable. Now what is confirmed credit? Now this is Sri Lanka and this is ABC Bank. He is from Singapore. He says, I know he says, Mr. Silva, we will deal with documented credits, but it should be by way of a confirmed document. I am not willing to, even documented credit I am not willing. Document is a method of payment, but it should be a confirmed documented credit. Now what does that mean? That means now if the ABC Bank Sri Lanka sends the LC to him, right? Okay, he is not happy. He is, I don't know, mean ABC Bank. What is that bank? Who are the directors? What is the net worth? What are the profits? I am not happy with that, right? So country Sri Lanka, okay, but I am not happy with the. I am not that happy. Right, the way things happening, I am not very happy. I am not sure the economy. That these are right. You know dollars. That these no right. Okay. So I am not happy with the country and I'm not. but make it confirm. That means now say they are understanding that the ABC Bank is with Standard Chartered Singapore, right? The Standard Chartered Singapore is the bank they have, right? Now what happens here is when you say confirm, okay, ABC Bank will approach Standard Chartered. That's the arrangement they have it, right? And tell Standard Chartered, look here, my friend, your customer Ching, I want to open an LC. I'm opening an LC to him, but he's not happy. He wants it confirmed. So can you please help us to do this confirm LC? By saying confirm LC means what happens is the LC that the issuing bank is opening to the exporter, that is irrevocable document credit, right? What Standard Chartered Bank is doing is when I told LC will go through the bank now, authenticity, they will advise and tell the normal LC, they say normal LC, exporter bank say, we guarantee that this we confirm that this LC has come from ABC Bank Sri Lanka. Authenticity is absolute. Authenticity of the message is absolute. That's all. But when you say confirm, when the ABC Bank requests the Standard Chartered Bank to confirm, what Standard Chartered Bank does is they say, Mr. Cheng, this LC has come from ABC Bank Sri Lanka, right? It has come from ABC Bank Sri Lanka, and I am told that you're not very happy with ABC Bank Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka, you think there's risk in the bank, risk in the country, right? You are worried about the risk, and you have asked for confirmation. Okay, we are banks, we know Sri Lanka is fantastic, they are doing very well, no issue at all, whatever it may be. ABC Bank is one of our top correspondents in Sri Lanka. So if you are worried, Mr. Cheng, we are telling you that if you ship under the LC of ABC Bank, right? If you ship under the LC of ABC Bank, and if ever ABC Bank, due to country risk or bank risk or some reason, does not pay you the money, we will pay you the money. Who is saying? Standard Chartered is guaranteeing the LC of ABC Bank Sri Lanka. So the exporter is getting a double guarantee. Why? One guarantee from ABC Bank saying, you ship to Silva, we will pay you. That is one guarantee, right? The second one is, they are all Standard Chartered saying, you go by the guarantee of ABC Bank. But if they fail, we are also guaranteeing that if ABC Bank does not pay you, we will pay you. So he has a double guarantee. That means what is happening is the Standard Chartered Bank is adding confirmation to the ABC Bank LC. That is what you call the LC issued by the imported bank is irrevocable document credit. Now it is a irrevocable confirmed document letter credit, right? Right here. Irrevocable document, double assurance. All this double assurance. Okay, that's finished. Okay. Now we come to these types of LCs. I'll go a bit fast because just give an understanding what happens, right? Now see what happens is the importer goes to bank, gets his bank to issue an LC. Okay. Once he issues the LC, say $100,000, okay, then ship the goods, right? Ship the goods, send the document, get the money. Then when he wants another shipment, he goes to bank, tells the bank to issue LC, another LC, second LC, then okay, they ship the goods, they submit document, get the money. They want another 100,000. So every time they're going opening LCs, right? Each one they're opening LC. But in revolving LC, what happens is he tells the issuing bank, opens an LC, right? And tells the the exporter, look here, my friend, we have opened the LC for $1.2 million, right? Okay. The total value of the LC is $1.2 million, but it is revolving with a face value of $100,000, which means that you can ship, although it is $1.2 million, the LC, you can't ship all at once. Any one time, you can ship $100,000, and each shipment will be $100,000. You can keep on shipping for 12 shipments, totaling to $1.2 million. For example, he'll ship for LC is open for $1.2 million. He'll ship $100,000, send the documents, claim it. They won't open another LC, but the LC is 1.2 million revolving. What you call revolving is again and again. So because they have the $1.2 million LC, right, given by the issuing bank already, then they'll do another shipment under no need to wait for another LC from this bank, because they have already issued them a revolving LC for 12 shipments of $100,000. So they issue $100,000. Then send the documents, get the money. No need for issuing bank to issue another LC, because it is now 1.2 million. They've done 2 shipments. Still, its value now 1 million. Then send another one. Then become 9 lakhs. Then they send another one, 8 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 2 lakhs. Last it will be 1 lakh. When the 12 shipment is being done, it will be 1 lakh and LC is finished. That means by opening one LC, they got 12 shipments of $100,000 each. So no need to open 12 LCs. You open for 1.2 million and tell them each shipment should be $100,000, right? But there's small changes, actually a little small change, right? Now they can open the LC and tell the condition, okay, $100,000 is okay, but the way you should do the shipment is monthly. Okay. If you open a shipment in January, you must do the next shipment not in the month of January, but February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Each month, they say it will revolve by month, right? That is, it is revolving by time. But you call it's giving a time for you every month. That is what you call revolving by time, right? But there can also be a situation they say revolved by value. That means now first time it goes January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. No. In this one, it says revolve by time, by value means if you ship 100,000 on 1st of January, you can ship the second one on 4th of January. Does not matter. Don't have to wait December. This is revolving by value. Value means if you have done 100,000, you do another 100,000. But I am not giving you a specific time. You can, I tell you only by value of shipment. You do 100,000. Then do another 100,000. It does not matter whether you're doing the same 100,000 today or you do 100,000 February. That does not matter. Revolving by value. First one, revolving by time is they give time every month. Just example, every month, right? Then cumulative and non-cumulative, right? That means cumulative means, say you're given an LC, you're given the condition that every month, January, February, March, April, May, June, right? So he did the shipment in January. He did the shipment in February, right? But March he went on a holiday and came back in April, right? If you say, the LC says this LC revolving is non-cumulative, that means in April when he does the shipment, he can't add the March shipment and make it 200,000. April 100,000, the missed shipment 100,000, he can't make it 200,000. That is because LC says non-cumulative. Okay. If he says cumulative, he says yes, it's cumulative. That means if you miss a shipment in a shipment schedule given monthly, and if he misses 1 month, say March he missed, and it says it's cumulative, then he can ship in April the missed March 100 plus the 100 of April. So cumulative and non-cumulative. Okay. So I said revolving by time, revolving by value, revolving by cumulative or non-cumulative. So that is about all for revolving. And revolving means one LC to cover several shipments instead of wasting time or the logistics to get another LC, send the man to the bank, get the form signed, director signed, and again we will type the LC again. So to avoid all that, right, we have revolving LC. right? That is what we call revolving LC. Okay. Then red clause LC. Red clause is nothing much mean. Red clause LC, we are in red clause LC. Okay. Say now you learn what the LC that you have. So far you know is an LC is where you ship the goods and send the BL, send the invoice, and send the send origin, you get the money. You ship the goods and send the money, right? You ship the goods, then the bank, issuing bank will send the money. That's all you don't know. That is how you know. You send the goods and you send the money, right? That you know that. Okay. Then you LC is open, send the money, $100,000. You say, okay, ship the goods, send the invoice, you get the money. But in red clause LC, what it says is now the exporter says he doesn't have money enough, right? He doesn't have money to packing and all that. He doesn't have. He wants some money to handle his, to take it to the port and all that. So in a red clause LC, what happens is, special thing is, now normally if it is $100,000, the exporter will get the $100,000 only after shipping the goods and he sends the invoice. But in red clause LC, the import export come to an understanding, and the importer tells his bank, please issue the LC, but before he does the shipment, before he does anything, tell him that he can take 10% because he has no money to do the shipping, and he stays his port is about 1,000 kilometers from the house, right? And Singapore 1,000 kilometers maybe on the other side of Singapore, right? But okay, similar, right? And it's very far away. He has lot of expenses. He has the goods, but he has no money to ship and bring to the port, load it to the port, all that. So he wants a small advance for that. So in a red clause LC, like a normal LC, but the exporter gets a small advance, normally like 10% for him to cover his packing and transport and all that. So the LC will go there, right? Before it will go through him. So what this bank will do is, exporter's bank will do is, because a red clause LC, the bank might advance how much? Might advance 10% before doing the shipment. So that means he will exporter will give a letter undertaking to the bank and say, I have taken 10% of the LC, $100,000 LC to handle all for my expenses for a shipment that I will make according to the LC for $100,000 worth of toys. So once he does the shipment, he already has taken $10,000. He'll come and give the documents here. Then the bank will pay 90,000. The balance string, right? Because already 10. So basically, red clause means the customer gets, the exporter gets a small advance of the value before he ships the goods. And those days, in those days, that old typewriter or the old typewriter, you get only 2 ribbons, black and red, right? So the clause, the special item, it was typed in red, right? Because normally in LC you don't give advance. But if an importer decides that it tells the bank give advance, doesn't matter, then it's a special thing. So that special thing to give an advance to exporter, maybe like 10% for his handicap, whatever, I don't know, right? Was typed in red, and that is why that is called red clause credit, because that phrase to give him an advance is a special thing and was typed in red, and that's why we call red clause credit, right? Okay. Then we come to what is standby LC. Right? What is standby LC? Standby LC, can you remember in open account? Open account, what happens in open account? Right. In open account, he ships the goods, right? He ships the goods and sends the invoice and sends the BL and sends to him. He goes and clears the goods. The risk is he may not make the payment. So when one example of standby, okay, one example. What happens is, in a standby, when he's not so sure, They agree to do open account. They agree for open account basis. The exporter agrees, but on the condition that it's by way of a standby LC. So what happens is the issuing bank, okay, issues a LC to him, say for say $100,000 or say $500,000, whatever, and tells him this LC that the bank is not to ship goods. The bank says you are going into an open account business with my customer, Mr. Silva. You all continue. You send the goods to him, send the documents to him, he will pay you. Right? But if any day you send him the goods and send him the documents, he takes and does not pay you, then you claim from me and tell that you did open account trading with him and he has not paid. Right? So this is like a small standby guarantee, right? Like a just standing by only in case in the open account transactions that the importer does not pay, right? In the open transaction, importer has not paid, right? Importer has not paid the money to the exporter. Then this LC, which is issued by the bank, is standing by, and he can claim, look here, I did open account trading, last 10 shipments, he did the money payment, he did very well, but now 11 shipment I sent and due date has come, he has not paid. So I don't know, your customer Sila has not paid. So I have no option but to claim under your standby LC. So standby LC is where it standing by, like just in case the exporter does not get the money, he can claim under standby. So normally standby by the word LC is like a standby facility. In case there is a fault in the transaction, the exporter can claim from the standby LC. Okay, that's just example of standby LC, right? Then I come to we come to yeah, these now I'll just now we're coming to a thing called transfer balance, right? Okay, this will take a little time, but don't worry, I'll do it in a way that you can understand. This is also quite common. They ask us sometimes. Here, what happens is, say that now look at it, follow the diagram carefully, huh? Right? Here there is a, we call this Maldives Islands. This is Sri Lanka and this is Singapore. All right. Now here what has happened is a Sri Lankan guy goes to Maldives and contracts with a Maldivian guy. He says, he tells the Sri Lankan, I want to buy 10 air conditioners, right? Okay. And the Sri Lankan says, each air conditioner will cost you 10,000. We'll see. Right now, what is the price? 100. We'll say you want to buy 10 air conditioners. This for example, and it will cost you $100. So the Sri Lankan says, you open an LC for me for $100, and then I will ship you. I'll arrange for you the 10 ACs, right? Now, what is happening here is, what we mean transfer means, actually when the Maldives, say Bank of Ceylon Maldives, whatever, Bank of Maldives, whatever, in Bank of Ceylon Maldives opens an LC to, or Standard Chartered, whatever, right? Opens an LC to the Sri Lankan guy. He also tells the Maldivian, actually I don't have air conditioners, right? But I can get you some solid air conditioners from my friend in Singapore. He manufacturing. So if you open an LC to me, I can't ship the goods, right? I have to transfer LC to that my friend in Singapore, right? I have to transfer my LC to my friend in Singapore. So therefore, you must open to me a transferable LC, right? Like a normal LC, right? Only thing it is transferable. So what happens is, we'll say this is the importer, right? In Maldives, he goes and tells his bank, say the Bank of Maldives something, or Standard Chartered, whatever, right? And tells them to issue a LC for $100 to Sri Lanka, right? Sri Lanka will call it first beneficiary. Mr. Will say, assuming Silva, right? And we'll call this was the person Ahmed, right? Maldives Ahmed. Ahmed has opened an LC to Silva for $100 for 10 air conditioners. But then Silva does not have the ACs. It's in Singapore. But this is a transferable LC. So he can transfer it. Okay. So what he does is, he tells his bank, ABC bank, right, to transfer the LC to the supply in Singapore. But when transferring, actually Silva is buying the LC, the ACs from the Singapore guy for $8. Now, Ahmed is willing to pay $10. So what Silva will tell the bank is, transfer the LC to my Singapore supplier, right? But transfer for 10 ACs at the rate of $8, right? So out of the $100 LC, right? What is bank? This is bank, Sri Lankan ABC bank, right? And this is Silva, right? He will transfer, the bank will transfer to the Singapore supplier LC for $80, right? LC for $80, okay, right? Now the Singapore supplier gets an LC for $80, and then what happens is, he will ship the goods. Then what will happen is, now he has got a LC for $80, and also the LC will say shipment should be made from Maldives to Singapore. No point Singapore to Maldives. No point bringing to Sri Lanka. No. So shipment in the LC condition be, the Singapore guy should ship the ACs from Singapore to Maldives, right? Now he has done that. Now he has shipped the goods, right? Now he has sit down. What has happened? Now the Singapore guy, he has shipped the goods for at the rate of $80, and he's sending the invoice, BL and all that to whom? To the Sri Lankan guy. He is coming. Now Sri Lankan bank ABC gets a document and tells Silva, here, your Singapore supplier has shipped the goods, right, to Singapore and send us the document, the certificate of origin, the invoice for $80, his invoice for $80, and the BL. Now what do you want us to do? Then the Sri Lankan will say, no, that invoice is issued by the Singapore guy, right? But the LC came in my name, no, right? So what the Sri Lankan Silva will do is, he will remove that invoice of the Singapore guy, which is for $80, and put a invoice or put his invoice, his bill for $100, right? Put his bill for $100, and then what will happen is, ABC Bank will send the documents. Now see, it came in $80, right? So can you see? It came for $80, right? Okay. And then what he did, he changed the invoice to $100 and removed the Singapore guy's invoice and put his invoice, $100. Now with that invoice, ABC Bank sends it to Bank of Ceylon or Standard Chartered, whatever, in Maldives, right? To Maldives, right? Now Maldives has got the LC, BL is there, performance has done the shipment, the $100 is the amount, and so the origin is there. Fine. What they will do is, the bank will do is, I told LC, no. LC means if the Maldivian bank will say Bank of Ceylon issued the LC, they can't go back to the applicant. They can't go to Ahmed and ask, give the money. No. This is later. Immediately, Bank of Ceylon has to pay the $100 to ABC Bank, right? The $100 invoice paid. Then what ABC Bank will do is, they have got documents from Singapore for $80, right? So they will send $80 to the Singapore guy, to his bank, and the Singapore guy will get $80. He sent an invoice for $80, he got $80. Now out of the $100 that ABC Bank got, They will send $80 to the Singapore guy, and the $20 will go to the Silva. So that will be his profit. Understand? So actually, transfer LC is like a Silva is acting like a middleman. Understand? He is acting like a middleman. So here, basically, one or two things you should remember is when the LC is issued to the Silva, right? There will be applicant in the LC, who is sending it. The name will be Ahmed, right? And to whose benefit, who is going to benefit by the LC? It will be Silva. So applicant is the person who is issuing the LC, that is the importer. His name will be Ahmed, knowing the LC that he got, right? And the beneficiary who is going to ship, exporter, name will be Silva, right? So when they're transferring it, they'll transfer $80 at the same time, right? At the same time, when the Singapore guy gets the LC, he will read the applicant, right? Applicant has Silva. They'll change from Ahmad, they'll make it Silva, right? And the beneficiary's name is Silva in this, they'll make it Ching. So as far as Ching is concerned, when he reads the LC, he sees applicant as Silva and beneficiary as Ching, right? So which means Ching will not know who Ahmad is. He is hiding Ahmad's name, right? Then after shipment, when he sends the invoice here for $80, the invoice coming here will be Ching's invoice, right? So he removes Ching's invoice and puts Silva's invoice for, he removes Ching's invoice for $80 and puts Silva's invoice for $100, right? So when it goes to Ahmed, Ahmed will only see the invoice of Silva for 100. He will not see this Ching. So Ahmed will not know who Ching is. Ching will not know who Ahmed is. So Silva will keep both of them away. Only he will know who is who. By this, he is hiding Ahmed, the buyer, who the real buyer is Ahmed. He is hiding it from Ching, right? And he is hiding from Ching. He is hiding Ahmed. Ahmed won't know who the supplier is, and Ching will not know who the buyer is. So this is like a middle business, right? That's how transfer LC is done. In the same scenario, this is what you call transfer LC. Of course, there's an article, right, called 38 of the, now like I told you, URC 522, for LC it is UCP 600, right? 600 Uniform Customs for Practical State. This is the article. There are, now see, this is the article. And when you are transferring an LC, right, now you got $100 LC, you can't change everything the way you want. You can't make, so he's asking ACs, you can't make it cars, right? All changes can't be, you can't make all changes. You can only change the amount, because unit price, you can't put 100, no, you have to make it 80, that is allowed. Expiry date, you can put lower, closer, because if you put expiry late, if Singapore fellow gets late, he won't get the money, right? Then like that, only these changes can be done in, and you can only reduce, you can't increase, as per Article 13, right? Not so important, but you can read it and you understand. Okay. Then I come to what is the final one, is back to back, right? This similar thing is only small difference between transferable and this one, right? Now here we saw, can remember in transferable, Ahmed opens a LC to $100 to whom? To Silva, right? But in certain countries, transferable LCs are not allowed. So say Ahmed's country, transferable LC is not allowed. Then what happens is, right, now Silva comes to the bank and tells him, right, now in the transferable LC, okay, and you want to show this part also. Now see, in this transferable LC, you saw the LC of Bank of Ceylon is getting transferred straight to Singapore. The ABC Bank is only transferring LC, right? They are not issuing an LC. So since they are transferring an LC, they don't have any undertaking to pay, because thing is going to perform on a transferred LC of Bank of Ceylon modules. It's not a LC from ABC Bank. So ABC Bank has no obligation to pay. When their documents come here $80, ABC Bank doesn't have to pay, because it is that the Ching has performed on the LC of Bank of Ceylon modules. Transferred, no. The LC transferred, right? So ABC Bank has no responsibility. They'll transfer, if they get the money, they'll pay. So Ching will perform mainly on the standing of the transferred LC of Bank of Ceylon modules, right? Not on ABC, right? Now I'll tell you what is the difference between this and a back-to-back LC. Now here LC is not transferable. Okay. Now you can't. Now you got LC. Bank of Ceylon module LCs come here, but you can't transfer it. So Silva says, look here, I got a LC for $100. After 10 years, if I ship it costing me $80, I'm getting $20 profit. Can you please, this is not transferable. Now what is telling the ABC Bank is, on the backing of this LC, that he's going to get money for ABC Bank to issue LC to the Chinese guy. Now supposing, now it's not a transferable LC. On the standing of the Bank of Ceylon LC from Maldives, Silva says issue another LC, your LC, ABC Bank LC to Ching. So now here's the difference. If Ching performs and submits documents under the LC now, in a back-to-back, Ching is performing under the ABC LC, not under the transfer LC. Not transferred, no. On the backing of this, thinking that Silva will get $100, ABC Bank is giving a commitment by way of an LC to Ching, saying that, okay, you ship for $80, right? Cost $8 transfer, $8 to $8, I'll pay you. So when Ching pays, submit documents this time to, when Ching, right? When Ching submit documents to ABC Bank, right? In this instance, what happens is, this bank, the LC that is going, right? LC that is going here, LC number 2, can see? LC2 going here is actually not a transfer of LC, but it is the LC of ABC Bank. A new LC has been opened, not transferred. So when the second beneficiary gives the money, gives the documents for $80, ABC Bank has to pay immediately. Understand? ABC Bank has to pay immediately. It is not a transfer LC. So in this case, if you are doing a transfer LC, no responsibility, you are just transferring, and if you get the money from that bank, you'll pay, because you're only transferring bank. But in a back-to-back, on the backing of the LC that he has already got, the first LC, that is what he got, the Bank of Ceylon module LC, you're opening another LC. You are opening in your bank, and Ching is performing on your bank LC. So when Ching give documents, you can't tell him, no, this transfer LC, the LC is from Bank of Ceylon module. No. Here you're giving Ching LC, assuming, thinking that if I pay Ching and send the documents to Maldives, banks don't pay him. But here the risk is, when Ching performs under your LC, right, you have to pay him. He is not bothered about Bank of Ceylon Maldives. That's not his concern. He doesn't know about it also. So you're not transferring, right? Keep on. And once you submit documents to Bank of Ceylon Maldives, right, you will get your money. But if anything happens to Maldives, right, as you know, vulnerable, he can be islands, all that. If you submit documents to Bank of Ceylon, and Bank of Ceylon is not able to pay you, right, then you have lost your money, because you have to pay Ching. You open an LC. So for a bank opening a back-to-back LC, they have to think very carefully, if they're not taking anything from Silva, no other security, hoping that Bank of Ceylon Maldives will make the payment, you're hoping that Silva will get the money from bank and you open your LCD to Ching. When Ching comes up with documents, you have to pay. And hope that when documents are sent to Bank of Ceylon, that you will get the money. But suppose if something happens and Bank of Ceylon does not pay, then you are at risk. Understand? You are at high risk. Because so therefore, normally back to back, when somebody comes to back to back proposal, banks are a bit reluctant because they want, sometimes they might want some additional security from Silva, right? Because they are in a back to back, they are opening their LC, Silva's bank opening their LC against the backing of another LC, which is the Bank of Ceylon. Supposing Ching performs, you have bank, the ABC Bank, which is Silva's bank, has to pay and depend on the Bank of Ceylon LC to get the money. Suppose something happens and Bank of Ceylon doesn't pay, then you're at a risk. So back to back, you as a bank, you're taking the risk. On the backing of one LC, you're opening another LC. But transferable, you are just transferring. You're not doing anything. The Ching is performing, in this case, in transferable, Ching is performing under the LC of Bank of Ceylon Maldives, which are transferred to him. But in back to back, he is performing on your LC that you open for him, hoping that Silva will get the money under the Bank of Ceylon LC. But you don't get, you run a risk. Okay, so that's the difference between back to back and transferable. But I think you got an idea of, you don't, they are all in the technical side is not required, but at least you know what to back to back is and what is transferable. So my friends, I think that time that concludes my lecture, I believe. And any other area that you want me to touch? Anything? Anyway, I'll give you my number. Right? If you have any, when you're reading later or when you're working, you have any problems and you want clarity, customer comes to you and you need my advice, you're most welcome to contact me. I am on 0773 0120 0773 012073 0773 012073. My name is Nila. Okay, so be free when you are reading through on a clarification, or you're in the bank and your customers come and you don't understand, you want to contact me, you're most welcome. No issue at all. Okay, guys. So shall we call today? All right, those.